the annual clash for Canadian football supremacy, the Grey Cup.
Good afternoon from Empire Stadium. On a rather glowering but mild day in Vancouver, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have just vacated the field after taking their 13-minute warm-up. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, the Eastern champions, are still out on the field, just concluding their warm-up. A few final kicks, a few final passes, and they too begin to depart to their dressing room on the far side of Empire Stadium. The temperature in Vancouver at the present time is an official 47. A high of 48 was forecast today. The wind is officially south-southeast at 12, but here at Empire Stadium, closer to Burrard Inlet and the Pacific Ocean, the wind is perhaps a little more, we'd say about 18 miles an hour, and it will slightly favor the team going from south to north. That is from our right to our left from our broadcast location. Both teams have now vacated the field. We're about 28 minutes from game time, Grey Cup game 1958. This is your coast-to-coast Grey Cup football telecast. Now down to the field for the referee, Harry Bowden's instructions and the toss of the coin.
My name is Harry Bowden. I'll be the referee of today's game. My senior umpire, Mr. Bill Nairn. For Hamilton, the captain, number 81, Mr. Honestchuk, and the co-captain, number 92, Mr. Filoni. For Winnipeg, number 64, Mr. Tinsley, the captain, the co-captain, Mr. Gray, number 53. Now, gentlemen, the official toss was made yesterday. Winnipeg won the toss. We would now like to have your choice, Mr. Tinsley. You will defend that end. And Hamilton will receive. Now, it will be Winnipeg kicking from this end. Hamilton receiving here. Thank you very much, gentlemen. A good game.
Well, as you saw and heard from the head referee, Harry Bowden, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, with their co-captain, Buddy Tinsley, doing the talking, elected to do the kicking, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats do the receiving. For the game, which will be getting underway now in about 25 minutes. Out on the field now, one of the most colorful groups of visitors to arrive in Vancouver for this hilarious Grey Cup week, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers Bomberettes, who were certainly a smashing hit in this morning's Grey Cup parade in the Blue Bombers band. And coming out onto the field now, the 10 Miss Grey Cup contenders, and of course, Miss Grey Cup herself, who was selected at the annual Grey Cup dinner last night. They're lining up along the near sidelines to be introduced. The first one from Hamilton, Miss Hamilton Tiger Cat, Patty Gale Smith. She's 20 years old. Patty is 5'3", and weighs 110 pounds. Next to Patty, Miss Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Patricia Ripetta, 19 years old, 5'5", and 128 years of age. Third, Miss Toronto Argonauts, Barbara Bricker, 20 years old, from Toronto, and certainly a very glamorous queen from the Queen City. Next, Miss Calgary Stampeder, Maria Grieve. She too is 20 years old, representing the Stampede City of Calgary. Miss Edmonton Eskimos, Sharon Lowe of Edmonton, who incidentally is the daughter of former national CCF leader, social credit leader, Solon Lowe. Next, Miss London Lords, Karen Eckhart of the London Lords in the Ontario Rugby Football Union. Sharon Durham is Miss British Columbia Lions, representing the Lions in the Miss Grey Cup contest. Miss Ottawa Rough Riders is Sylvia Prohl, 20 years of age. Miss Saskatchewan Rough Riders, Jane Wentz, who was runner-up in last night's Miss Grey Cup final. And finally, Miss Grey Cup herself, selected last night there is Miss Saskatchewan Rough Riders, and Miss Grey Cup herself, selected last night, Miss Montreal Alouettes, Joan Van Boven from Montreal, Quebec. Miss Montreal Alouette, who was chosen to rule over all Canadian football at the Grey Cup dinner here in Vancouver last night. Those are the 10 girls who took part this year in the Miss Grey Cup contest here in Vancouver. In the center of the field, going through one of their maneuvers, the very classy Winnipeg Bomberettes. These girls, thanks to some very civic-minded activities around Winnipeg, arrived just this morning at 7 o'clock. And as I said before, they were certainly a colorful addition to the giant Grey Cup parade. They're in very snappy blue with very white short white skirts and white boots. There were a few drops of rain. I don't know whether some people who are from outside of Vancouver were snickering a little bit when they saw it or not, but there were just 2 or 3 a few moments ago. Earlier today, it did rain a little bit out at Empire Stadium. There was no rain at all in the downtown area, fortunately, while the parade was in progress. The weatherman's forecast is not too definite. He says there are rain showers in the surrounding area, but whether or not we have anything that really amounts to a real rainstorm at Empire Stadium is completely problematical. The temperature should rise to a high of 48. It was 44 at 8 o'clock this morning, 47 here in Vancouver at 12 noon. And, of course, there's no snow unless you get about 4,000 feet up on the mountains. The Winnipeg Bomberettes and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers Band, as part of the pregame ceremonies here at Empire Stadium for the 1958 Grey Cup game. Your commentators for this afternoon's game will be from Winnipeg, Bob Moyer, and from Toronto, Steve Douglas. These gentlemen will be giving you the lineups of the 2 teams, East and West, in just about 10 minutes' time when the 2 clubs take the field. Well, now, as one band and group of majorettes, the Winnipeg contingent moves off the field. More of the cast of the pregame and halftime ceremonies for this year's Grey Cup game take the field. These are Judy Nichols and the cheerleaders and Mary Stewart, mascot of the British Columbia Lions, along with the BC Lions Band under the direction of Dal Richards, who is conductor of the BC Lions Band and also director of music for the halftime ceremonies here in Vancouver this afternoon. These performers as well were in the Grey Cup parade through downtown Vancouver earlier today, and they come swinging out onto the field to the tune of 76 trombones. There is Mary Stewart, little miss from Vancouver, who, as well as being, as you can tell, a superb acrobat, is also one of the outstanding junior swimmers in Canada today. And this group performs at all of the British Columbia Lions' regularly scheduled home games throughout the Western Football Conference season. Well, with game time 1:30 in Vancouver for today's Grey Cup Classic, the fans were perhaps a little surprisingly slow in arriving here at Empire Stadium. As many of you have no doubt heard, a crowd estimated at around 40,000 was expected for today's game. These stands here will hold just over 34,000 seated, and there are in the neighborhood of 7,200 standing room seats as well. But now, as game time fast approaches, these stands are rapidly filling. Perhaps many people were waiting just to see whether or not it was going to rain or not. Now, Dal Richards and the BC Lions band and cheerleaders salute the Eastern champion, the defending Grey Cup champion Hamilton Tiger Cats, with a rendition of the Tiger Rag. The Hamilton Tiger Cats came in about an hour and a half ago from their training headquarters, which were at Wally, just about 14 miles from downtown Vancouver. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers checked into Empire Stadium about an hour and a quarter ago from their downtown hotel training headquarters. Both clubs have been here throughout most of the week, finishing off the training in the perhaps a little warmer climate of Vancouver, warmer, I would imagine, for some of them at least, and umpteen times in the past few days, both Coach Jim Trimble and Coach Bud Grant have expressed the opinion that they are ready. You rapidly got the opinion that they just couldn't wait for 1:30 Vancouver time this Saturday afternoon to get this game underway. This Grey Cup telecast is coming to you from Empire Stadium in Vancouver. Well, now for some last-minute vital statistics. First of all, from the east, the home of the defending Grey Cup champions, your commentator for the second and fourth quarters of this afternoon's game, Steve Douglas. Go ahead, Steve.
Hello, Ted, and thank you very much, and how do you do, everybody, from coast to coast along the CBC Television Sports Network. Right next door here is a good old buddy from the rather snowed-in city of Winnipeg, I understand, Mr. Bob Moyer. What do you hear from back home?
Well, Steve, we have heard that there's lots of snow down there, and, of course, the temperature down there is supposed to be about 24, 25 degrees below zero at the present time. Much different than it is here at the present moment.
Well, this temperature of 47 degrees, and incidentally, I don't know whether Ted mentioned the wind situation or not. It is roughly 12 miles an hour from the southeast. And this apparently, Bob, has occasioned a switch in plans insofar as the opening kickoff is concerned. Supposing you fill him in on that, will you?
Well, that's right. Just a few moments ago in that kicking ceremony we saw on the screen, Buddy Tinsley and Herb Gray of the Blue Bombers decided that they would rather kick off to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I imagine, presuming that they Tiger Cats might fumble the ball on the opening kickoff with this wind and rain. Last night, the Blue Bombers won the toss last night, and it was assumed by everyone, as a matter of fact, Coach Bud Grant seemed to intimate that the Bombers would be receiving the football here this afternoon.
There's also been some talk here, Bob, and it's occasioned a great deal of excitement with the prospect of it up around the various radio, television booths and the press box, that Coach Jim Trimble, as is something of a habit and custom with him, is likely to spring a few offensive surprises this afternoon, and one that has been mentioned is the possibility he may start with Milt Campbell and Ralph Golston at the two halfback spots in place of... and the noise in the background has something to do with the Tiger Cats coming out on the field here. And I think we'll do a little shifting around here, Bob, now with this microphone and preparatory to last-minute information. You sit in there because you're working at 1 and 3 this afternoon. And as the two teams are introduced individually, we'll get a chance to pick them up for you and fill you in on the details regarding the players in question. The possibility of a switch in offensive plans from Coach Jim Trimble is, of course, as most Eastern fans know, not anything particularly new. Jim is known for pulling rabbits out of hats at the last minute in an effort to confound and confuse his opposition, and this could be what he has in mind this afternoon. Insofar as the Blue Bombers are concerned, I think one thing back east we'd like to know is the physical shape of a great ball player by the name of Charlie Shepard. Is he pretty well up to snuff, Bob?
Well, the last we heard was that Charlie Shepard will be able to play as well as he has been able to play all season. If this is good enough, then the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, of course, have an outstanding chance here this afternoon.
That ought to be just about enough said in that respect. We might identify all the officials here when we get a chance now because things will move along pretty rapidly. After there'll be a ceremonial kickoff, which Ted Reynolds will describe for you, and then the official kickoff. The referee today is Harry Bowden from Toronto. The number 1 umpire is Bill Nairn of Winnipeg. Number 2 umpire is John Monroe of Toronto. The number 3 umpire, who will be primarily a deep official today, deep in the defensive team's backfield, is Taylor Patterson of Regina. The field judge, Paul Dojak of Regina, and the head linesman is that old RCAFer Ray Boucher of Ottawa. The officials, we just noticed them down at the sidelines on the 55-yard line.
I don't know whether this is a sign. I didn't notice them on before, Steve, but I see the lights are on here at Empire Stadium this afternoon, which means, of course, they're not taking any chances on some dismal weather here in Vancouver, and they're making sure that the field will be well lit right from the start of the football game.
I think we'd like to just very briefly identify the members of our crew working here this afternoon. From the normal Eastern crew, Hal Walker spotting and Doug Maxwell as statistician, and you've got an old familiar face beside you, Bob.
He has. He's been spotting for about 14, 15 years in football now. Mo Simovich, who has been on our crew working out of the Prairie region.
Rousing reception, to say the least, for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, entirely to be expected, of course. I would have to presume, Bob, that the overwhelming majority of how many thousand people may be in Empire Stadium today are decidedly pulling for a Blue Bomber victory.
I would think so, Steve, and this is an odd thing because when the teams go to Eastern Canada to play the Grey Cup final, it always seems that in Toronto there is also an overabundance of Western fans.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats introducing now on the public address system their individual players as the starting lineup. We'll check that. Paul Decker, number 75 at left end, followed by Angelo Mosca, number 72 at left tackle, and John Barrow, number 61 at left guard. The center is Bob Kelly, number 44. P.W. Underwood, number 60, coming out to join his teammates. At right tackle, Big Dave Szyminski, number 64. There he is right now. Right end is Harry Lampman, number 73. Quarterback, number 92, the ball-handling wizard of the Ticats, Bernie Faloney. And they are introducing Ralph Golston, number 88, in the starting backfield. And Jerry McDougall, who, according to the pregame stories, was not going to start, is out there now. He's number 95. And Milt Campbell, former U.S. and World Decathlon champion, number 84. And Ronnie Howell, recently voted as the top Canadian of the year, who is going to receive a special award on the near sidelines. Bob, how about these Bombers?
Well, the first man on the field for the Blue Bombers is their left end, Frank Gilliam, number 74. The next man out there is the tackle, Frank Rigney, number 67. And the other man on the left side of the line, Cornell Piper, number 58. The center is George Bruxman, number 43. And the right guard is Ed Kotowich, like Cornell Piper, a graduate of the Winnipeg Rods Juniors, number 56. The right tackle, a graduate of the University of Minnesota, Bob Probert. And the right end for Winnipeg, number 77, Ernie Pitts, a graduate of the University of Denver, which I understand is a famous school in Eastern Canada circles through Sam Etcheverry. The quarterback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers is Jim Van Pelt from the University of Michigan, number 86. The left halfback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Leo Lewis, number 99 from Lincoln University. Charlie Shepard from North Texas State, number 91, is the left fullback. And the right fullback for the Blue Bombers is number 85, John Verone from the University of Miami. The right halfback, Kenny Plain, number 89 from the University of Iowa.
Thanks, Steve, and thanks, Bob. Next, we will have the ceremonial kickoff, which will, of course, precede the real kickoff, because once the real kickoff gets underway. This football game that these two teams have waited for so anxiously will finally be underway. To take part in the ceremonial kickoff, and you'll see them all in a moment or two, will of course be Miss Grey Cup, 1958. Moving out onto the field now, two of the three players voted the outstanding players in Canada. There's Jackie Parker of the Edmonton Eskimos in the center. You can see Jackie turning, looking back. Behind him, walking away from us, is Don Luzzy of the Calgary Stampeders. Escorting them out was Don McKenzie, chairman of the Grey Cup Festival activities. Miss Grey Cup, Joan Van Boven of Montreal moves out with them. Also in the official party are the Commissioner of Canadian Football, Mr. Sidney Halder, Mr. Ed Fennell, President of the CRU, and of course Don McKenzie. Now, Luzzy is going to hold the ball. Parker is going to kick it. And he gets a pretty good kick away down to about the 28-yard line, and there's no run back on that one. And the official party begins to make its way off the field with game time now just minutes away. This is your coast-to-coast Grey Cup football telecast. Teams lined up at center field. This ever-growing crowd waits for the singing of the Queen and of O Canada prior to the official start of the 1958 Grey Cup game. Coming to you along the CBC Sports Network. So far, everything has gone off just like clockwork here in Vancouver today, right from the beginning of the big Grey Cup parade. Started right on the dot at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time this morning. Official party who took part in the ceremonial kickoff having a little bit of difficulty making their way up to the center stands in the near side, immediately below us, to take their seats in the royal box. The broadcast location for this CBC telecast is on the west side of Empire Stadium. Now this huge crowd rises for God Save the Queen and O Canada. Now to bring you the first quarter. Now, to bring you the first quarter of the 1958 Grey Cup game, here is Bob Moyer.
Right, Ted. Thank you very much. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers kicking off to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and the deep men for the Tiger Cats. On the left, Ron Howell, and on the right, Macon. Jim Van Pelt. Regularly, the quarter bombers will be kicking off, number 86, and standing near him, sort of protecting the football, Gordy Rowland. Referee is Harry Bowden. Jim Van Pelt, ready to start the 1958 edition of the Grey Cup. There we go. The kick is to Howell on the 13-yard line. He's across the 25 up to the 28-yard line, and he is knocked over by Tony Kerr. Kerr, number 90 for Winnipeg, and it's first down. After that 52-yard kickoff and 14-yard return, first down for the Tiger Cats on the 28-yard line. Ernie Filoni, the quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The pass is intended for Howell, and it's nowhere near him. Howell covered on the play by Nick Miller and Norm Lawhouse. So it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Tiger Cats. They're on their own 28-yard line. The starting offensive backfield for Hamilton, Bernie Filoni, Don Southern, Jerry McDougall, Howell, and Grant. Filoni's pass intended for McDougall. McDougall covered on the play by Gordy Rowland. And it's now 3rd down for Hamilton. And they send in the blockers for the punting team. The deep men for Winnipeg to receive the punt. On the left, Lateral. On the right, Gordy Rowland. Fraser gets the ball away. It's a low, wobbly kick. Seemed to go off the side of his foot. Picked up by Ron Lateral on the 55-yard line. Lateral up to the 50. The flag goes down on the field, and the officials are calling no yards on that 27-yard punt by Cam Fraser. Milt Campbell in there, too close on the play, along with Billy Graham of the Tiger Cats. And there is also another flag down on the field. And let's see what they're calling. The officials are calling first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, so there must have been interference on the line of scrimmage, past the line of scrimmage, on the punter going downfield. Interference called against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on the punter going downfield after the football, so it's first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats on the 31-yard line for Hamilton. Bernie Filoni, the quarterback. He gets the rush put on him. Garland Warren comes up to try to make the tackle, and Filoni gets down, and it's marked at the 41-yard line. The tackle made by Cease Looney, Winnipeg's defensive right end. Looney, number 73. Very close to a first down. We'll see what the officials call. They're calling for the yardsticks. Bernie Filoni, trapped on that pass attempt, ran the football himself. Short by inches. Winnipeg Blue Bombers have made a defensive change. Kenny Plain has now gone in at halfback in place of Nick Miller on the left side, Plain number 89.
Please report to the office.
Second and inches to go for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, just inside their own 41-yard line. And the sun seems to be trying to work its way out here at Empire Stadium. Bernie Filoni, the quarterback. Filoni carries the football himself. He'll be very close to the first down. The official signals first down. Buddy Tinsley coming up there to grab Filoni.
Filoni carried for the first down. Tackled by Patrick.
First down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats on the 41-yard line. No score in the football game. The ball handed off to Jerry McDougal. McDougal grabbed by Buddy Tinsley. He's across the 45-yard line, and the officials spot the ball just over the 47. A 6-yard gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 4 for the Tiger Cats. Second and 4, Hamilton. In the 47. The hand of the pitch out is to Southern. Southern up across the 45, the 50, the 55-yard line into Winnipeg territory. Finally pulled over by Kenny Plain. It'll be first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats on the Winnipeg Blue Bomber 53-yard line. 12 minutes, 17 seconds remain in the first quarter. Eddie Macon flanked to the left. The handoff is to Southern. Southern met by C. Slooney, the defensive right end for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Correction, the handoff to Jerry McDougal, and Bernie Filoni is pulling the same tricks that he pulled several years ago in the Grey Cup final. I was positive that Southern had the football. Bernie Filoni, the master ball handler, who has been getting all those passing raves this year. Gain of 5 on the play. It will be 2nd and 5. The officials having trouble with the yardsticks. They've now put a second set into use in the football game. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, 2nd and 5. They're on the Winnipeg Blue Bomber 48-yard line. Maloney's pass down the center, caught by Paul Decker on the 38-yard line. Decker is dropped on the 36-yard line. Keith Pierce, the defensive right halfback for Winnipeg, making the tackle. And the bright sunshine here at Empire Stadium in Vancouver, putting long shadows on the ball field. 11 minutes, 22 seconds remain in the first quarter. No score in the football game, but the Hamilton Tiger Cats on the Winnipeg 36-yard line. Bernie Filoni is the quarterback. The fullbacks, McDougal and Southern. The handoff fake, and the pitch passes to Jerry McDougal. McDougal up to the 30-yard line, down to the 25, to the 20-yard line, to the 15, to the 10, and he is finally running to touch on the 9-yard line. Gordy Rowland coming in to make the tackle. There's a flag on the play. The penalty is against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Winnipeg Blue Bombers called for illegal interference. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats, of course, refused the penalty because of the fine gain made by McDougal. Bernie Filoni, the quarterback, flips the lateral to Jerry McDougal. And McDougal down to the 10-yard line, down to the 5, and McDougal over for the touchdown. Jerry McDougal puts the Hamilton Tiger Cats in front in this football game. Hamilton 6, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers nothing. The Tiger Cats went 82 yards in 11 plays for that touchdown. Very important play along the way, the penalty on the third down punt. Hamilton had kicked to Winnipeg. Winnipeg penalized on the third down. Hamilton took over and went all the way for their touchdown. Steve Onishuk attempting the convert for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Bernie Filoni holding the ball. The kick is good, and the Tiger Cats lead the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 7-0. This Grey Cup telecast is coming to you from Empire Stadium in Vancouver.
Forget your winter driving worries. Make sure of instant starting this winter. Drive in at the Shell sign. Fill up with Shell or Super Shell, the two gasolines with built-in warm-up.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats will kick off to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Don Sutherland will do the kicking for Hamilton. The deep men for Winnipeg, Gordy Rowland and Leo Lewis. Kenny Plain. Hamilton 7, Winnipeg no score. 10 minutes and 40 seconds remain in the first quarter. Don Sutherland having trouble setting the football just the way he wants it. Coming at the ball from an angle. And he kicks a weird one. It goes down to John Barone of the Blue Bombers, dives on the football on the 42-yard line. And there is a flag goes down on the play. Dino DeNoble goes in there, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats are being called for roughing. A 23-yard kickoff on that very weird-looking kickoff by Don Sutherland. And referee Harry Bowden is going to spot the football on the Hamilton Tiger Cats' 54-yard line. First and 10, Winnipeg on the 54 on the starting offensive lineup for Winnipeg. The left end is Frank Gilliam, number 74. The right end is Ernie Pitts. The quarterback, Jim Van Pelt. The halfbacks are Lewis and playing the fullback, Shepard and Barone. Van Pelt is the quarterback. The pass is over the head of Penny Plain and intercepted by Eddie Macon. Macon makes the interception on the 43-yard line, and he goes down to the 40, the 35, the 30 of Winnipeg, and he is finally run into touch on the 23-yard line. There are two flags down on the field. Eddie Macon making a spectacular interception for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and the Tiger Cats are being called for illegal interference on the play, and this time the Blue Bombers get the break. It's first down Winnipeg on the Hamilton Tiger Cats' 50-yard line. Seven to nothing, Hamilton over Winnipeg. Flank to the right is Leo Lewis. They hand off to Charlie Shepard. Shepard across the 50-yard line, and he stopped at the 45-yard line. Harry Lampin making the tackle on the play. Lampin, one of the four fine linebackers for the Tiger Cats. The gain is 4 yards. It'll be 2nd and 6. Nine minutes, 45 seconds remain in the first quarter here in the 1958 edition of the Grey Cup. Winnipeg 2nd and 6. The handoff is fake to Barone, given to Leo Lewis. Lewis across the 40-yard line. And when the officials spot it, we'll see what they call it. Over the 40, first down, Winnipeg. The tackle made by Eddie Macon. Harry Lampman also in there. First and 10, Winnipeg on the 40-yard line. Hamilton 7, Winnipeg no score.
First down.
Flank to the left this time, Leo Lewis. Van Pelt's passes seem to be deflected. Shepard couldn't hang on to it. Ralph Goldston covering Shepard on the play.
Van Pelt's pass incomplete. Offside. Hamilton.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats called for offside on the play. So it will be first down, Winnipeg, from the Hamilton 35-yard line. Less than 9 minutes remain in the first quarter. Lewis flanked to the left. The pass is to John Barone. Barone covered on the play by 2 Tiger Cats, including Tony Cristillo and Harry Lampman. It'll be second and 5, Winnipeg. Winnipeg on the Hamilton 35-yard line. Hamilton 7, Winnipeg no score. Lewis flanks to the right this time. Charlie Shepard, the fullback, along with John Barone. There's a fumble on the play, and let's see who recovers. The ball is still loose, and it's picked up by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Ralph Goldston picks up the football. He's on the 30, the 25. Ralph Goldston all by himself into the end zone for a touchdown. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers now trail the Hamilton Tiger Cats 13-0. John Barone and Jim Van Pelt having a mix-up in the Winnipeg backfield. And with 8 minutes and 11 seconds to play in the first quarter, Hamilton leads Winnipeg 13-0. Steve Onischuk is in there to attempt the convert for the Tiger Cats. A flag down on the field. Buddy Tinsley, the Bombers' right tackle, goes in there. He's offside, but the point is good anyway, so the Hamilton Tiger Cats lead Winnipeg 14-0. 8 minutes and 11 seconds remain in the first quarter. And Steve, this football game so far looks very much like one last year played in Toronto.
There's a lot of reminiscences in that connection. The Bombers start to move downfield, and they almost got trapped with that fine interception by Eddie Macon, who was away like a streak, and only because of pass interference called by the officials was that one called back. He'd been bumped out of bounds on the far side down around the 15-yard line. Goldston is actually coasting the last 15 or 20 yards on that one, looking sort of lazily over his shoulder to see if anybody might have a chance to catch up.
Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats will be kicking off again in this football game, and Don Southern lines the football up the same way he did before. The deep men for Winnipeg, Roland, Lateral, and Roland, Blaine, and Lewis. Blaine on the right. Southern's kickoff goes farther this time. Goes to Leo Lewis on the 18-yard line. He's up to the 25, and he is hit on the 32-yard line. A fine tackle by Pete Newman of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Number 74 is Newman. 47-yard kickoff and a 13-yard return. First and 10, Winnipeg, just over their own 31-yard line. Jim Van Pelt, the Bomber quarterback, graduate of the University of Michigan. Mike wide to the right, Leo Lewis. The handoff, Charlie Shepard. The handoff is to Leo Lewis, and Lewis takes the ball up to the 40-yard line. A gain of about 8 on the play. Dave Saminsky in there to make the tackle. Eddie Macon also in there. Gain of 8 and second and 2 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on the 40-yard line. Less than 8 minutes remained in the first quarter. The score 14-0 for Hamilton over Winnipeg. This time Lewis is flanked. Charlie Shepard gets the handoff. He goes across the 40-yard line to the 44. He's hit on the play by Will Goldston. Don Southern also. First down for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. First and 10 Winnipeg on the 44-yard line of their own 44. They hand off to Kenny Plain. Plain up to the 45-yard line, met by Pete Newman, the defensive end for Hamilton. Newman, number 74. And there's an injured player on the field. Newman calls for help from the bench. Tony Cursillo, the defensive captain for the Tiger Cats. Their interior linebacker. Bob Kelly going into the game for Cursillo. Kelly regularly the offensive center for the Tiger Cats. A gain of 1 yard on that play by Kenny Plain, so it's 2nd and 9 Winnipeg. They're just over their own 45-yard line. Lewis flanking to the right. And Jim Van Pelt is buried back at the line of scrimmage. Back at the 40-yard line on the 38. Johnny Farrow in there. Harry Lampman also in on the play. The flag down on the field. The Hamilton Tiger Cats being called for offside. The 5-yard penalty puts the Winnipeg Blue Bombers just over the 50-yard line now. So it's 2nd and a little more than 3 yards for Winnipeg. They're on there just over their own 50-yard line. The handoff to Leo Lewis. Lewis up to midfield, and he is across the midfield stripe down to the 53, hit on the play by Bob Kelly. Now in there at interior linebacker, Kelly number 44. Kelly in for Tony Cursillo. It's first down for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They're in Hamilton territory. 5 minutes and 45 seconds remain in the first quarter. Hamilton 14, Winnipeg no score. The handoff to Charlie Shepard. Shepard across the 50-yard line down to the 48. Dave Saminsky in to make the tackle. It's a 5-yard gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 5 Winnipeg. Just on the 49-yard line of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Dale Lewis, flank to the left. They hand off to Kenny Plain. Plain's passes to Charlie Shepard. Makes the catch on the 43-yard line, and he's across the 35 down to the 32-yard line. And he's hit by 3 Tiger Cats, led by Eddie Macon and Ralph Goldston. Bill Campbell also in on the tackle. Campbell, number 84, playing safety for the Tiger Cats. It's first down, Winnipeg on the Hamilton 31.5-yard line. The ball sitting right between the 31 and 32 on the hash mark. Then he played flank to the right. Goes to the left. The handoff to Charlie Shepard. He's across the 35, and he dives down to the 30-yard line. Charlie Shepard diving down to the 30-yard line. Hit on the play by Milton Campbell. Campbell, number 84. Safety man for the Tiger Cats. And it's first down for the Blue Bombers just outside the Hamilton Tiger Cats 20-yard line. Eddie Plain flanks to the right along with John Moreau. The handoff to Lewis, and he's caught behind the line of scrimmage. He throws the pass to Jim Van Pelt. And Van Pelt is down to the 5-yard line, and he's over for a touchdown. So there we have the pass. Only touchdown for Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Angelo Maska in there to rush Kenny Quinn when he got the football, and he tosses the pass to Jim Van Pelt. Van Pelt's kick is good, and the score is now Hamilton 14, Winnipeg 7. 4 minutes, 15 seconds remain in the first quarter. This is your coast-to-coast Grey Cup football telecast. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Jim Van Pelt will kick off to the Hamilton Tigers. Bounces on the 20-yard line, picked up by Ronnie Howell. He's across the 25 up to the 30-yard line, and Howell is dropped on the 33-yard line. Bernie Pitts, who made a fine block on the last play, which enabled the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to get the touchdown, makes the tackle on that play. Bombers went 79 yards in 9 plays for their touchdown, and that kickoff, 40 yards, run back 9. First and 10, Hamilton on the 34-yard line of the Tiger Cats. Bernie Maloney is the quarterback. Maloney's pass is a long one, way downfield, and it's knocked down by Keith Pierce. The pass intended for Tommy Grant. It'll be second and 10 for the Tiger Cats from the 34-yard line. Bernie Maloney now 6 for 5 in the passing department. Bud Grant talking it over at the Blue Bomber bench with his quarterback, Jim Van Pelt. Three minutes and 49 seconds remain in the first quarter here at Empire Stadium. Grey Cup Day, 1958. Maloney's pass this time is caught by Paul Decker on the 48-yard line. Decker is caught by Keith Pierce, number 79, the defensive halfback for Winnipeg, and Norm Lawhouse, the defensive safety. It's a first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats on their own 49-yard line. Hamilton 14, Winnipeg 7. Bernie Maloney, the quarterback. The rush put on by Herb Gray. Maloney decides to run the football. Savoy can't get to him. Maloney runs for the first down to the 50-yard line. Finally run into touch by Nick Miller, number 94. John Barone also chasing him into touch. Maloney, number 92. First down, Hamilton in Winnipeg territory. They're just inside the 49-yard line. Flank to the left, Grant to the right, Howell. The handoff is given to Southern after to McDougall. Steve Patrick, Winnipeg middle guard, making the tackle. The 4-yard gain will be second and 6 for the Tiger Cats. Now inside the Winnipeg 45. Less than 3 minutes remain in the first quarter. This time both Howell and Grant flank to the left. Bernie Maloney looking for the line with Buddy Tinsley in there to make the rush, and Buddy Tinsley drops Bernie Maloney for a big loss. Loss of 13 yards on the play, and Hamilton is now back in their own side of the field. The officials put the ball down on the 53-yard line. Cam Fraser in to do the punting for the Tiger Cats. Fraser's kick almost blocked, and the ball bounces down to the 22-yard line and bounces into touch. Buddy Tinsley in there to almost block that punt by Camp Fraser, which went 35 yards before bounding into touch, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers take over on their own 22-yard line with less than 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Hamilton 14, Winnipeg 7. Winnipeg still with the same offensive lineup that started the ball game. Jim Van Pelt is the quarterback. The handoff is to John Barone. Barone dives across the 25-yard line, hit by Bob Kelly. John Barrow also in on the tackle. Kelly playing the interior linebacking spot in place of Tony Priscilla, who was injured early in the first quarter. The handoff is to Leo Lewis. Lewis up to the 25-yard line, and he's hit as he goes across the 25-yard line. Eddie Macon coming up from his defensive halfback spot to make the tackle. It'll be 3rd and 5, Winnipeg. Lockers go in for Charlie Shepard's punt. Ron Howell on the left, Eddie Macon walking across in front of him. The punt receivers for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Charlie Shepard, the Winnipeg punter, standing on his own 14-yard line. He gets a wobbly punt away. Bounces at midfield. Picked up by Macon on the 50-yard line. Macon hit hard on the 52-yard line. Dave Burkholder and Ed Conowitz coming up to make the tackle on the 33-yard punt by Charlie Shepard. Less than a minute remaining in the first quarter here at Empire Stadium. Hamilton 14, Winnipeg 7. Minute flag up. First and 10 for the Tiger Cats. On the 52-yard line. Backed away out to the left is Paul Decker. Bernie Filoni in the short punt formation. The pass is to Jerry McDougall. McDougall on the Winnipeg side of the 55-yard line. Brought down by Dave Burkholder. Roger Savoy also in on the tackle. It's a 6-yard gain for the Tiger Cats. 2nd and 4. They're just inside the Winnipeg 53-yard line. Just a few seconds remaining in the first quarter. Decker flanked away wide to the left. The handoff is given to Don Sutherland. Sutherland across the 45, down to the 40-yard line, and he's run into touch on the 38-yard line. Nick Miller making the tackle, and there goes the gun to sound the end of the first quarter. This Grey Cup telecast is coming to you from Empire Stadium, bringing the second quarter play-by-play of this Grey Cup game. A veteran of these Grey Cup telecasts from Toronto, Steve Douglas.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. The situation on the field at Empire Stadium in Vancouver right now. The ball is 15 yards in from the far side, right on the hash marks. In the possession of the Hamilton Tiger Cats representing the East. It is on the Winnipeg 32-yard line. The nose of the football is just inches short. It is first down and 10 to go, and the Tiger Cats own a 7-point margin right now by 14-7. The line marker, check it. It's the 37, not the 32. Bernie Filoni, who has gone all the way, of course, for the Ticats, directs his team's offense, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers get their defense set for them in the vicinity of the 35-yard line, and we go to work once again. Flankers right and left for the Ticats. Don Sutherland trying to outleg the opposition is chasing him and dragging him down deep. Is Gordy Rowland, one of the great defensive stars of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They got to him and knocked him down for a loss in the vicinity of 5 yards. Comes up second down and 15 yards to go with the ball back midway between the 42 and 43-yard lines. And now it's on the near side of the field. Telecasting positions here on the west side of Empire Stadium in Vancouver. The spread goes in operation for the Ticats, not extending the full width of the field as they do it sometimes, but only rolling to the right. He's run successfully off this play this afternoon. He's going to leg it. Still on his feet. And finally nailed after he got inside the 35-yard line. Nick Miller is the number 1 man to make contact with him. Billy Graham, one of the smaller men on the entire football field this afternoon, hit with a pretty good block that sprung Colony loose down inside the 35-yard line. The Tiger Cats from Hamilton, it is third down and 6 yards to go. Fisher placed the ball down, 33.5-yard line. Tom Southern will try a field goal for the Ticats. The ball will be held on the 42-yard line. Roland and Lotterell are deep for Winnipeg. And it is short. Taken by Roland. He's up across the 15. John is faded down on the 25-yard line. A fine return by Gordy Roland. Harry Lattman and Tommy Grant coming in. A 19-yard run back. On the field goal, it seemed to be heading dead center, but fell about 5-6 yards short. Blue Bombers put it in play. The ball is midway between the sideline stripes on the Bombers' 25-yard line. In the second quarter of the Grey Cup final for 58 at Empire Stadium, Vancouver, Jimmy Van Pelt is the Bomber quarterback. He looked like good, but he almost lost it, passing on the far side to Gilliam. And he nails him, and he is hit almost immediately by Steve Honestchuk, the right corner linebacker for the Ticats. No signal, there it is now from the officials. First down. Officials marked down on the 36-yard line. First and 10 for the Blue Bombers. Here go the Bombers. With Kenny Plains split wide on this end. Right off into Charlie Shepard. Who plows his way up the middle, and he may have picked up another first down. He's got it. Ralph Golston, number one man to hit him defensively for the Tiger Cats after he picked up the first down. Shepard driving straight up the middle with a great powerful burst. Is up across the 46-yard line. First and 10 for the Bombers from there who are on the move. John Barone tries the left side of the line for Winnipeg. He fouled up first by P.W. Underwood of the Tiger Cats after he got 3 yards. Just on the 50-yard line. Johnny Barrow and P.W. Underwood combining to bring him down. Pickup is a little over 3. Second and about 7 to go. 12 minutes to halftime, which will feature a great deal of pageantry from here in Vancouver. Well worth your attendance. Lane is very wide on this side. There's a marker on the play. The ball carrier is nailed deep inside Charlie Shepard. Hamilton Ticats being picked up for offside by the officials. Vinny Scott led the defensive charge for the yellow and black. Harry Bowden coming out to make with those very excellent, easy to understand signals of his. Ed Gray has gone into the ball game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Ed Potowich comes out. It is the third time the Ticats have been nicked for being offside this afternoon. Lane comes out as a very wide flanker on this side. Bell handing off to Leo Lewis, and the Lincoln locomotive really picks him up and lays him down as he gets inside the 50-yard line before he is met by linebacker Harry Lampman. But it's another Blue Bomber first down. Ball is on the Hamilton Ticats 49-yard line. It's midway between the sideline stripes. And this Winnipeg drive started after Don Sutherland's lengthy field goal, attempting it from the 42-yard line and at a reasonably bad angle, 15 yards in from the far side, had fallen short, and Gordy Roland made a fine run back with it. Kenny Payne is a wide flanker to the far sidelines right now. Ball carrier is Johnny Barone. He tries the right side of the Hamilton defensive wall with not too much success. Number one man to hit him is John Barrow. His pickup on the play brings the football up to the 45-yard line. The nose is just touching, so it's about 3.5 yards. Bombers taking lots of time in the huddle. Breakout. St. Louis very wide on this side. Van Pelt shooting down the middle. And a sensational completion down the middle by Ernie Pitts. And he is hit almost immediately by Ralph Goldston. On 2 or 3 occasions this afternoon, the ends who moved down and cut in rapidly have stolen that football right out of the hands of would-be interceptors or defenders, as the case may be. Konowich goes back in the Winnipeg lineup, replaces Gray. Jimmy Hughes, the Queens graduate, is calling defensive signals for the Tiger Cats in the absence of Tony Cursillo, who was hit early in the first quarter and has not come back in. Bootleg by Van Pelt coming this way. Knocked off balance by the first man who hit him, Eddie Macon, and the tackle completed by Big Paul Decker. And Lewis's forward progress is stopped down on the 31-yard line. It is second down and about 4 yards to go. The ball is on the Hamilton Ticats, 31-yard line. Flankers right and left. The drive goes up the middle with Shepard, the ball carrier, and he hits into Johnny Barrow first. Helping to contain Shepard was P.W. Underwood and Jimmy Hughes. And this leaves the Bombers with the ball on the Ticats, 29.5-yard line, third down and about 3 to go. Well, if there is a field goal attempt coming up by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, which is always possible, the Ticats have sent only one man back so far. Winnipeg's going to go. Van Pelt will try the air. He completes it to Gilliam. And Gilliam is hit down at the 17-yard line. Frank Gilliam, 6'2", 184 pounds. One of the offensive stalwarts of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, made a beautiful completion. He went down, cut in, turned around, and took the pass. And the officials have marked it down on the 16-yard line. And that is where corner linebacker Steve Honestchuk and Eddie Macon came along to make the tackle. So the Bombers are definitely threatening here. Van Pelt bootlegs it. He gets it away. And it's batted down by Ralph Goldston in a key defensive play of this ball game so far. Kenny Plain was the intended receiver, about 10, 12 yards in the end zone. How Van Pelt got that football away is a miracle, but the key defensive play was put on by Ralph Goldston, who at the last minute leaped high and batted it down. So it's second down and 10 to go, and the football is just inches shy of the 15-yard line. And the power swings to the left for Winnipeg. And Van Pelt rolls that way. Ticats chasing him. He shoots. It's completed and dropped. Gilliam, the intended receiver, undoubtedly is saying a lot of unkind things to himself on that one. He had turned around after a nice touchdown, but lost the ball, so it's third and 10 on the 15. Bombers through the air, 5 for 7. Kenny Plain will hold for Van Pelt. Ball down on the 22. It's up. It is good. And the Hamilton Ticats lead has now been cut to 14-10 with about 8 minutes to go to halftime. And this is your Coast to Coast Grey Cup football telecast.
Winter's here, so drive in at the Shell sign. Fill up with Shell or Super Shell, both designed to give you fast starts and trouble-free motoring, even in coldest weather.
The Ticats of Hamilton put it in play, 1st and 10 from their 35-yard line, sending Billy Graham as a flanker on the right side, Grant on the near side, and the stadium starts to explode with noise. Jerry McDougall tries the middle, hit first by big Buddy Tinsley of the Bombers. He got maybe 2 yards. 2nd down and 8 to go. Well, he's just across the 37-yard line. Tinsley, at 33 years of age, is a great veteran of the Blue Bombers in his 9th year with the club. Packs 233 pounds on a pretty good frame, and he plays a whale of a lot of line. Maloney looking, shooting on the far side. It's too high and too hot to handle for little Billy Graham, who is one of the smallest men at 5'7" and weighing only 165 pounds. Maloney through the air has hit 4 times on 8 attempts up to this point. The passing department on each side is reasonably well even Steven. Roland and Latrell, the 2 deep men. Roland, number 97, Latrell, number 87. They're in the vicinity of the 35-yard line. Bomber into the field. Cam Fraser, who kicks some turf off his shoes, boots from the 30. Way a low bullet wobbler, taken by Latrell at 31. Down he goes as he approaches the 40-yard line, and it will be Blue Bombers 1st and 10 from that point. Fraser's hoist that time was good for 36 yards. First man to hit Latrell on the run back was Eddie Bevan, and then Tommy Grant came along to lend defensive assistance as well. Incidentally, we'd like to remind you that along the CBC Television Sports Network, there are many fine sports features for you throughout the year. Next Saturday, from Civic Stadium in Hamilton, the annual East-West All-Star Shrine Game will be televised. And I'm sure you've noticed that our becoming perennial bugle is with us this year again. That's 3 years in a row. Feed it to Leo Lewis. A heave by Jimmy Van Pelt, which brings the Bombers up just inside Hamilton territory on the 54.5-yard line, with Milt Campbell and Ralph Goldston combining to bring him down at 6.5 minutes before halftime. We mentioned it before, but it is worth mentioning again. The halftime pageantry will be very definitely well worth your attention. Tony Casillo has come back in defensively for the Hamilton Ticats. He was shaken up pretty badly in the early portion of the first quarter, and this is his first appearance since that time. Van Pelt folding straight back, flips a screen pass out here to Kenny Plain. Oh, he's on the move, but good. Gets away from 2 tacklers, and is nailed finally inside the 25-yard line. One of the big offensive plays of the game, with Honest Chuck and Dawson coming up. It covered 30 yards, pass and run, with the majority of it being legged out by Kenny Plain, who did a great job of avoiding 2 or 3 would-be tacklers. Just inside Ticats' 25-yard line, Charlie Shepard carries, up the middle he goes, picks up maybe 3, and he's close to that 20-yard line. Vince Scott, number 1 man on the tackle. Well, it's on the 20.5-yard line. So he gets roughly 4 yards out of it. 2nd down and 6 to go. The score is Hamilton Tiger Cats 14, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 10. 5 minutes, 20 seconds remaining before the end of the first half. And the stadium continues to erupt with noise. This is a Western crowd, no mistake about that. Bootleg by Van Pelt coming this way. Flipping it over, and he hits. Good juggles the ball, and he's hit by Eddie Macon of Hamilton, and is unable to control it. Ed Gray going in, number 53. Play at right guard. Coming out is Ed Kotowich, number 56. Howell has come in for the Ticats. He'll go back with Eddie Macon in the end zone. Van Pelt will try the field goal with plain holding. Down on the 27, in the air. And good. So the picture changes once again here. And the score now is the Hamilton Ticats 14, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 13. This Grey Cup telecast coming to you from Empire Stadium in Vancouver. Second field goal of the afternoon, booted by Jimmy Van Pelt. Who during the regular season hit on 8 out of 15 for the Blue Bombers. And that drive, incidentally, climaxed by the field goal, went 50 yards. Ticats ball, first and 10, Hamilton 35-yard line. A constant din here. Only right back. Short screen pass to McDougall across the 30, 35, 40. On his feet across the 45-yard line. Finally hit by John Barone of the Bombers, left corner linebacker. Who nailed him after he picked up yardage sufficient for a first down. And the officials are marking it as such on the 47-yard line. That is the Ticats 47. 4 minutes, 25 seconds to halftime. 14-13 for the Ticats, who jumped into an early 14-0 lead and then watched the Bombers drive back with a touchdown and 2 field goals. Grant is the single flanker coming out toward these sidelines. Southern goes through with the fake beautifully. McDougall was the ball carrier right up the middle. And he's got himself another first down. Brought down by Gordy Rowland of Winnipeg. One thing about the attack that Bernie Coloney sets going on the ground for Hamilton is that Don Southern is particularly capable of carrying out his fake so beautifully. Reminiscent of the year that Normie Kwong did that for the Edmonton Eskimos, and oddly enough, it was the same quarterback directing the plays at the time. Ball is on the Winnipeg 53-yard line. McDougall coming this way, cutting back. There's a marker down on the field. And McDougall is finally stopped on the 47-yard line. Illegal interference. Cease Lunning made the tackle for Winnipeg on that hard, high-stepping McDougall. Harry Bowden, the referee, had a word or two to say to Buddy Tinsley, co-captain of the Bombers. And now will come the mark-off. Penalty is clipping, and apparently the culprit on the Ticat roster is Johnny Barrow. Ticats so far have lost 45 yards in penalties this afternoon. 3 minutes and 39 seconds on the stadium clock to halftime. Bombers get set defensively. The ball is now on the Ticat 42-yard line. Maloney looks it over and then talks to his teammates in the choir-type huddle the Ticats employ. Bombers at the bottom of the screen, number 97 you had a look at is Gordy Rowland. Shoots down the middle, complete to Paul Decker. 2 laterals over to Harry Lampman, who is diving around and finally gets down to the 51-yard line before Rowland, who is making a great percentage of the tackles for Winnipeg this ball game this afternoon, comes up with it 16 yards. Play covered. Maloney to Decker, and then over to Harry Lampman. So for the Ticats, it is second down and 8 to go. 3-minute signal coming from the field. 3 minutes to halftime. A great salute to Canada, and sports in Canada will be enacted on the field at halftime. Watch for it. Right pass out here, McDougall lost the ball. Nick Miller and Buddy Tinsley were both Johnny on the spot to cover the play. Goes incomplete. It brings up third down. And 10 yards to go. And once again, the Bombers will use their deep twins, Gordy Rowland and Ron Latourell, to receive the punt that they expect Cam Fraser to boot down. There are the deep men for Winnipeg. This time they're moving back to the 10 and 15-yard lines, respectively. Peculiar punting shift employed for the Ticats. Fraser will kick from just about the 52-yard line. Gets away a low bullet. That lateral watches and then digs up and comes back nicely to about the 23-yard line. The pass, the kick was good for 36 yards. Bill Campbell and Ralph Toohey on the tackle. Clock shows 2:24 to halftime. And the scoreboard shows Ticats 14 and the Bombers 13. Winnipeg Club certainly came roaring back after Hamilton piled up an early 14-0 lead. And now Bombers have it. First and 10 from their own 22, 23-yard line. Leo Lewis, the man with the pigskin, there's a marker on the field. Lewis still trying to get away, and the Ticats wrestle him down to earth up to the 38-yard line. But the play may go back, and somebody is going to be nailed for rough play. There was a marker back at the original line of scrimmage, and there also was an indication of a possible infraction up where finally Lewis was nailed in the 38-yard line. The first signal coming up was a holding signal back at the original line of scrimmage. Ralph Goldston is the man who is getting tagged, individually speaking, with the roughing call against Hamilton. And from all appearances, it would seem that Mr. Goldston is leaving the premises. That is the signal given by referee Harry Bowden, the arm outstretched and the chopping motion down on the wrist, which is a new signal in Canadian football this year, and it's known in the book as disqualification, which is a pretty tough break insofar as Hamilton and the Ticats supporters are concerned, because Goldston has been one of the top performers for their ball club, certainly throughout this 1958 season. Bobby Dawson comes in to replace Ralph Goldston. Dawson is the Windsor product in his 6th year with the club. Goldston playing his 3rd year with Hamilton. When this is all straightened out, it will be Winnipeg Blue Bombers' ball, that's for sure. It has been placed at the moment just inside the 35-yard line, but is now being moved up to the 40-yard line. And the sticks finally move down on the sidelines. And a few fans are getting over exuberant as well. And the clock shows 2 minutes and 7 seconds to go. And as an additional comment from Ted Reynolds, it is not raining in Vancouver. Van Pelt shooting on the far side. It's headed for Leo Lewis. He let him just a little bit too much. Pass a little too hot, too high to handle. So it will be 2nd and 10 to go. The ball just nudges the Winnipeg 40-yard line. It's about 18 yards in from the far side of the field. 14 to 13 for the Hamilton Ticats. A minute, 49 seconds showing time left to play in the first half. Lewis has a very wide flanker on this side. And Pelt's going to run it. And he is tripped up from behind by John Farrow. The Ticats, number 61 right there. The Bombers will have 3rd down facing them and roughly 3 yards to go. All on Winnipeg's 46.5-yard line. Charlie Shepard gets use of one of the officials' towels. He'll do the booting for Winnipeg. Doing a 44-yard average during the regular season. Bacon and Howell are the Hamilton men. Back to receive. They're at the 20 and 25-yard lines, respectively. Shepard booting from the 37. Gets away a honey of a kick. Ronnie Howell at the 11-yard line. Cutting back. Still on his feet across the 10 again. Across the 15 and forced out of bounds on the far side of the field, and Shepard's kick traveled 53 yards, with Howell finally getting bounced out of bounds by Nick Miller of the Bombers. That is by far the best punting performance of the afternoon, and at that, what wind there is, it was about 12 miles an hour before the game started. Shepard was booting right into it. A minute and 4 seconds to the end of the first half. And the man has just put that minute flag up on the sidelines. Now we'll see, with the Ticats deep in their own territory, what quarterback Bernie Filoni will pull out. Tigers left and right. Howell and Grant. Filoni bootlegs. He's being chased. Still on his feet. He's going to run. And he gets up to the original, not the original line of scrimmage. The Warriors met first by Hargrave, a left end defensively for the Bombers. That's the man who brought him down. His loss in the play is about 2.5, maybe 3 yards. Steve Patrick was the principal man for the Bombers, putting the big rush on Filoni. He actually spun into his own end zone, but managed to get out. Second down and just about 13 to go. 25 seconds. Grant flanks on this side. Howell, a short flanker, a yard from the far sidelines. Filoni will try again. He's looking for Howell, throwing very deep. And he is bounced around in there, and the man who put the kibosh on it for the Ticats was Winnipeg's Nick Miller. They were double-teaming Ronnie Howell, who tore down the right sidelines. Norm Rawhouse was the other man to break it up. So it's 3rd and 13. Halftime entertainment starts to form in various sections of the stadium. Certainly hope you'll be with us during halftime. According to the brief run-through we had an opportunity of watching early this morning, it should be a scintillating performance. Fraser is standing about a yard out from his goal line. Flag has gone down. It's blocked. It's in the end zone. Norm Rawhouse. Well, in case you can hear a single voice over this bedlam in Empire Stadium, Vancouver, it was Normie Rawhouse of the Blue Bombers, who comes from the Winnipeg Weston team originally, a Canadian, 22-year-old youngster who's in his 3rd year with the club, who dove through, blocked the ball, and then followed it into the end zone, really bird-dogging on it, and latched onto it for the touchdown that puts the Bombers ahead. Van Pelt will try the conversion. Blaine will hold. Man, what a finish to this first half. It is good! And the gun sounds at the end of that last play, and our scoreboard shows you the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 20, the Hamilton Ticats 14, and this is your coast-to-coast Grey Cup football telecast.
And now with the second half of what's turned into a real thriller about to get underway, here's Bob Moyer back again with some of the statistics on the first half. Bob, did you get your breath back?
We sure did, Ted. Thanks very much. We have some of the unofficial statistics as compiled by Doug Maxwell, our statistician here at the CBC booth. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats get as sure as they come on the field. The statistics that we have in the first downs department, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers picked up 15 first downs in the first half as compared to 11 by Hamilton. The fans here at Empire Stadium certainly letting the Blue Bombers know what they feel think of them. Back to the statistics in the rushing department. For Winnipeg, it was 91 yards. For Hamilton, 82. Winnipeg attempted 12 passes. They completed 7 for 115 yards. The Hamilton Tiger Cats attempted 12 passes, completed 6 for 93 yards. There was only one fumble in the first half, and that resulted in a touchdown for Hamilton, Ralph Goldston getting the touchdown. The score at the present time, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 20, The Hamilton Tiger Cats 14 as we get ready to start the second half of this, the 1958 edition of the Grey Cup game. The Hamilton Tiger Cats scoring in the first half. McDougall and Goldston got the touchdowns. And the converts were kicked by Steve Notischuk. John Barone scored the Winnipeg touchdown in the first half, in the first quarter. Jim Van Pelt kicked the convert. He also kicked 2 field goals and the convert on the final play of the half when Norm Rawhouse recovered a blocked kick for a Winnipeg touchdown. So the Winnipeg touchdowns, John Barone and Norm Rawhouse. The converts by Jim Van Pelt and 2 field goals by Van Pelt. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will kick off to the Hamilton Tiger Cats to start the second half. Jim Van Pelt will be doing the kicking. The kick is shallow. It goes to Grant on the 18-yard line. Grant is across the 30, and he's up to the 34-yard line. Walt Malicki pulls him down. Malicki, number 47 for Winnipeg. Helped in there by Ron Beanmore. So it's first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats after that 47-yard kickoff and 17-yard return on their own 35-yard line. Hamilton trails the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 20-14. The Tiger Cats in a wide spread. He pitches to McDougall. He's across the 35-yard line and up to the 40-yard line. Gordy Rowland pulls McDougall down. It's a gain of 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 5. Hamilton from the 40. We're in the third quarter of the Grey Cup game. Pitch out is to Jerry McDougall, and it's incomplete. Buddy Tinsley in there to put the rush on Bernie Poloni, the Hamilton Tiger Cats quarterback. So now it's 3rd and 5 for the Tiger Cats on their own 40-yard line. The front receivers for Winnipeg, Ron Latterell and Gordy Rowland. Cam Fraser Bernie Poloni is doing the punting for the Tiger Cats. Poloni standing on the 28-yard line. Latterell picks it off at the 32, and he is down on the 35-yard line. Ralph Toohey in there to make the tackle. It'll be 1st and 10, Winnipeg on the 36-yard line. Winnipeg leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats 20-14. A 39-yard punt, no return, a very little return there. Punt by Bernie Poloni. That's not a very frequent happening for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Poloni punting in place of Cam Fraser. Flanking to the left is Kenny Plain for Winnipeg. Jim Van Pelt, the quarterback. The handoff is to Leo Lewis. He's across the 40-yard line. The officials are spotting it down almost on the 40. Harry Lampman in there to make the tackle. Vince Scott also in there. 4-yard gain on the play. It's 2nd and 6, Winnipeg. They're just inside the 40-yard line. "13 minutes remain in the third quarter here at Empire Stadium. The handoff is to Barone. Barone across the 45 up to the 50-yard line. Milt Campbell comes up from the safety position for Hamilton to make the tackle. Campbell, number 84. Harry Lampman also in there. It's a first down for the Blue Bombers. John Barone picking up the first down, and Winnipeg is now on their own 50-yard line. Denny playing flank to the left, the handoff to Lewis. Lewis across midfield, there's a fumble on the play, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats recover. Paul Decker. Don Southern in there to recover the football. The Hamilton Tiger Cats take over on their own 50-yard line. Hamilton 14, Winnipeg 20. We're in the third quarter. Loney gets the rush put on him by Roger Savoy. And he is caught by John Barone, the left corner linebacker for Winnipeg, as he crosses the line of scrimmage and he gets up to midfield. Bernie Maloney hanging on to the football. A 4-yard gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 6 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats at almost midfield. Maloney has with him in the backfield at the present time Sutherland and McDougall, Howell and Bacon. McDougall gets the short pitch and he's hit as he crosses the line of scrimmage, and he gets just over the midfield stripe. He's hit by Gordy Rowland, the right corner linebacker for Winnipeg. Very little gain on the play. One-yard gain. It's now 3rd down and 5 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats just over midfield. The front receivers on the left, Gordy Rowland. On the right, Ron Latterell. The Tiger Cats decide to run the football. Milt Campbell takes the pitch out. He's across the 50, the 45-yard line, down to the 40. He's running in the clear. Keith Pierce and Gordy Rowland are chasing him. Gordy Rowland makes the tackle on the 30-yard line, and Milt Campbell is down on the 28-yard line. The Hamilton Tiger Cats gambling on 3rd down. Take the football down to the Winnipeg Blue Bomber 28-yard line, a 27-yard run. This Grey Cup telecast is coming to you from Empire Stadium in Vancouver. 1st and 10, Hamilton. They hand off to Jerry McDougall. There's a flag down on the play. Jerry McDougall carrying up to almost the 25-yard line, but we'll see what the officials call here. The penalty is against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Referee Harry Bowden steps back to the 12-yard line. Rough play called against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And the penalty puts the ball on the 13-yard line. Hamilton, 1st down. 10 minutes, 35 seconds remain in the third quarter. Winnipeg leads 20-14. Maloney's pass intended for Howell, and Howell makes the catch in the end zone for the touchdown for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And the football game tied up. Howell, number 82. Hamilton 20, Winnipeg 20. 10 minutes, 19 seconds remain in the third quarter. The Tiger Cats going 60 yards in 5 plays. The key play being the 27-yard run on 3rd down by Milt Campbell. Steve Honishchuk will attempt the convert for Hamilton, point which could put the Tiger Cats in front. The kick is good, and the Tiger Cats lead the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 21-20. And what a football game this has turned out to be. Immediately following this football game, the stars of the game and the coaches will be interviewed by Steve Douglas and Tom Foley. The Hamilton Tiger Cats bench, Ronnie Howell, sifting the towel from the equipment men. The kickoff return men for Winnipeg, Kenny Plain, Leo Lewis, and Gordy Rowland. Don Southern will attempt the kickoff, will make the kickoff for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Ball this time sitting straight up on the point, and Southern takes a straight run at it. The ball goes down to Kenny Plain on the 22. He's across the 30, and he's down on the 35-yard line. Gino DeNoble making the tackle. First and 10 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on the 35-yard line. A 43-yard kickoff and a 13-yard return. Kenny Plain flanked to the right, Leo Lewis to the left. The handoff to Charlie Shepard. Shepard across the 35 up to the 38-yard line. Hit on the play by Dave Szymanski. It's 4.5-yard gain, and it's second and 5.5 for the Blue Bombers. Ed Kotovich going into the game. Herbie Gray coming out. Plain flanked wide to the right. Leo Lewis gets the handoff. He's across the 55, up to the 52-yard line. There's a flag down on the field. Illegal interference is the call. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be penalized. Ball going back to the 30-yard line. Where it is now, second and 15 for Winnipeg. 9.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Sunshine out here at Empire, here in Vancouver and shining brightly down on Empire Stadium. Plain is the flanker to the left this time. The pitch is to John Barone, and Barone up to the 30-yard line. He gets up to about the 32, and he's knocked over. Paul Decker in there to make the tackle along with Eddie Bacon. Don Southern also in there. Very short gain on the play, and Charlie Shepard will do the punting for the Blue Bombers. Shepard kick goes down to Eddie Macon on the 40-yard line. Macon up to the 45. There's a fumble on the play, and the ball is recovered by the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Tony Cursillo. Bobby Dawson making the recovery on the play on the 39-yard kick by Charlie Shepard, but the officials moved the ball back to the 45-yard line. An offside lateral they're ruling that. As Macon fumbled forward, and the ball was picked up by Dawson. First and 10, Hamilton. Flanker way wide to the left is Paul Decker, the left end. Milt Campbell gets the football and goes across the 45 to the 48-yard line, and an 3-yard gain on the play as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers went into that play with only 11 men on their defensive team. Second and 6 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Macon flanked to the left, Lampman to the right. The short pitches to McDougall, and McDougall is hit as he grabs the football, gets back up to the line of scrimmage. Gar Warren coming up to make the initial tackle, and Steve Patrick in there pulling him down finally. The rush was put on by Cease Looning. Winnipeg's defensive right end. So it's third down for the Tiger Cats. They still need 6 yards. Less than 8 minutes remain in the third quarter. Hamilton 21, Winnipeg 20. Gordy Rowland, Ron Latterell, and Gordy Rowland back to receive for Winnipeg. Cam Fraser in to do the punting this time. It's a beautiful kick, and it backs Latterell right up. The ball bounces on the 5-yard line into the end zone. Goes Latterell, and he's out to the goal line, up to the 5, and he is finally dropped on the 7-yard line. Ralph Toohey, the first tackler in there. A 67-yard punt by Cam Fraser. This is your coast-to-coast Grey Cup football telecast. Winnipeg takes over on their own 7-yard line. Jim Van Pelt, the Blue Bomber quarterback, asks for a new football. Winnipeg's offensive backfield. Jim Van Pelt is the quarterback. Kenny Plain and Leo Lewis are the halfbacks. John Barone and Charlie Shepard are the fullbacks. The handoff is to Lewis. Lewis is across the 10 and up to the 13-yard line. Vince Scott coming in to make the tackle. Tony Cursillo coming up also. Cursillo, number 99, injured in the first quarter, back into the football game. It's a gain of about 6 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 4, Winnipeg. Kenny Plain flanking to the left. The handoff is to Lewis again. Lewis across the 15-yard line. But just across, Harry Lampman coming in to make the tackle. Lampman, number 73. Leo Lewis just short of a first down. The Blue Bombers are third and just a little more than 1. Eddie Macon, number 90, and Ron Howell back to receive the punts for the Tiger Cats. Charlie Shepard doing the punting for Winnipeg. Shepard standing behind his own 5-yard line. It's a fine punt also. And it goes down to Macon on the 52-yard line. He fumbles the football, grabs it, and buries it on the 49. Frank Gilliam up there first. Flag down on the play. A 43-yard punt, and the penalty is against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We'll wait and see what that is. The signal there. The officials signaled one way the first time, and they signaled another way the second time. But referee Harry Bowden is marching down to the Hamilton Tiger Cats' 33-yard line. Rough play being called against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It's first down for the Tiger Cats on the 33-yard line. 6 minutes, 7 seconds remain in the third quarter. Hamilton leads Winnipeg 21-20. The two ends flanked wide. Bernie Filoni pitches the ball. There's a fumble on the play, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers recover the football, and it bounces out of the Bombers' hand, and it's recovered by Gordy Rowland again. Was the man who came in there tough on Bernie Filoni and Jerry McDougall, and the ball recovered by Gordy Rowland. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers take over on the Hamilton 23-yard line. The Winnipeg fans in the crowd, or all the Western fans in the crowd, really pulling for the Blue Bombers at this stage of the ball game. Jim Van Pelt signals Leo Lewis to get it flanking wider to the left. The rush is put on. The pass is to Kenny Plain, and it's incomplete. Plain well covered on the play. Harry Lampman over there, along with Don Southern. Second and 10 for the Blue Bombers. They're just inside the 24-yard line of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hamilton 21, Winnipeg 20. 5 minutes, 15 seconds remain in the third quarter. Lewis flanked to the left again. Kenny Plain gets the football. The pass is to Charlie Shepard. Shepard makes the grab on the 15. He's down to the 10, and he's down to the 6-yard line. Charlie Shepard, number 91. Bobby Dawson, who went into the football game when Ralph Goldston was thrown out in the first half, came up to make the tackle on Shepard, and it's first down Winnipeg on the Hamilton Tiger Cats 6-yard line. The handoff is to Lewis, and he's up to the 5-yard line, and he's met by the Hamilton line, led by John Barrow. Paul Decker also in on the tackle. Barrow number 61, Decker number 75. Very little gain on the play, and the officials having an awful time trying to unpile them. Leo Lewis, number 99, little scuffle as he comes out of the pileup. Number 99 is Tony Crusello. And big 64 is Dave Saminsky. 240-pounder for the Tiger Cats. Herb Gray has gone in at offensive guard for Winnipeg. Ed Kotowicz comes out at second down, 5 yards to the goal line for Winnipeg. Winnipeg playing in tight this time. And there's Charlie Shepard gets the ball, and there's hankies all over the field. The Hamilton Tiger Cats being called for offside as the Hamilton lineman jumped the gun. The penalty will be half the distance to the goal line or the gain where they want it. Jim Van Pelt, the Blue Bomber quarterback, talking it over, along with Steve Honestchuk of Hamilton, number 81, and referee Harry Bowden. And Bowden is going to lay the football down halfway between the 5-yard line and the goal line. There will be second down for the Blue Bombers. Second down, 2.5 yards to the goal line. And a fine shot by the creepy peepee camera. The handoff is to Charlie Shepard, and he slips and he goes over for the touchdown. Go to the front in the football game. Winnipeg 26, Hamilton 21 with 4 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Jim Van Pelt will attempt the convert for Winnipeg. Kenny Plain is going to hold the football. The kick is good, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead 27-21. This Grey Cup telecast is coming to you from Empire Stadium in Vancouver. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, marching the ball 24 yards in 5 plays, go to the front in the third quarter here at Empire Stadium. And now Jim Van Pelt will attempt the kickoff once again. Ronnie Howell on the left, Eddie Macon on the right to receive the kickoff deep for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Van Pelt not satisfied with the way that football is standing. The kickoff goes out to Macon on the 21-yard line. He is across the 35 and up to about the 38. Walt Balicki coming in to make the tackle again. The paid attendance here at Empire Stadium in Vancouver, 34,226, far short of 1955 when more than 39,000 people came to watch the first football game, the first Grey Cup game, to be played in Western Canada. First and 10 Hamilton on their own 38-yard line. The handoff taken by Jerry McDougal, and McDougal is up to the 45-yard line, crosses the 45, hit by Frank Rigney. It's a 7-yard gain on the play. 2nd and 3 for Hamilton. The handoff taken once again by Jerry McDougal. Gar Warren coming up from his interior linebacking spot to make the tackle. Warren, number 44. It's 3rd down for the Tiger Cats, and there'll be a measurement. At least it's 2nd down over, and there'll be a measurement. First down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats with 3 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Winnipeg 27, Hamilton 21. One of the all-time great Grey Cup football classics. Hamilton on their own 48-yard line, and the 3-minute whistle sounds. Ronnie Howell flanking wide to the right. Milt Campbell in at fullback and gets the pitch out. Campbell goes across the 50 up to the midfield stripe, and Campbell is finally pulled down on the Winnipeg side of the field. Steve Patrick making the first tackles. Patrick, number 63. Roger Savoy in there also, number 62. Campbell and Steve Patrick as tackler playing leapfrog. Very close to a first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It's a 9-yard gain, 2nd and 1. Kenny Plain in at defensive halfback for Winnipeg now. Maloney tells Howell to get way over by the sidelines. The handoff is given to Campbell, and Campbell across the 50 down to the 49-yard line. It'll be a first down for the Tiger Cats. Dave Burkholder making the tackle, the initial tackle. And it's first down Hamilton just over the Winnipeg, inside the Winnipeg 50. Less than 2 minutes remain in the 3rd quarter. Winnipeg 27, Hamilton 21. Maloney's pass to Decker, and Decker makes the grab on the 40-yard line. He's down to the 35, down to the 34-yard line. Pulled over by Gordy Rowland, Winnipeg's right corner linebacker, and it's another first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. These teams going up and down the field reminiscent of the days when the Montreal Alouettes and the Edmonton Eskimos were battling each other here in Empire Stadium back in 1955. Less than a minute and a half remains in the 3rd quarter. Maloney fakes the handoff. The long pass is intended for Ronnie Howell in the end zone, and Howell makes the catch for the touchdown. Ronnie Howell makes the catch over Kenny Plain. As the Hamilton Tiger Cats go 72 yards in 6 plays, and these teams not wasting any time picking up the point. Hamilton 27, Winnipeg 27. We're in the 3rd quarter with a minute and 12 seconds remaining. Steve Onishuk will attempt the convert for Hamilton. Bernie Filoni, who is 4 for 5 in the second half with 2 touchdown passes to his credit. He holds the football, which is kicked for a point, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats go to the front again, this time 28-27. Ralph Sazio and Jim Trimble at the Hamilton bench. Sazio with the glasses. Trimble sends Cam Fraser onto the field. The Hamilton Tiger Cats will kick off to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and Chet Mixa in there to do the kicking. Taking over from Don Sutherland. Mixa's kick is a high, short one. Goes down to Kenny Plain on the 22-yard line. Plain across the 25, up to the 30. He's free at the 35, and he is finally pulled down by Tony Cursillo on the 41-yard line. The officials spot the ball on the 42. 43-yard kickoff by Chet Mixa. A 20-yard return by Kenny Plain. It'll be first down, Winnipeg, on their own 42-yard line. They now trail by 1 point. Less than a minute to play here in the third quarter. Leo Lewis gets the ball. His long pass is to Ernie Pitts, and it's over Pitts' head. Ernie Pitts in there behind the Hamilton defenders, Steve Otischuk and Bobby Dawson, and Leo Lewis overthrew him. The minute flag up here in the third quarter. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Blue Bombers from their own 42-yard line. Kenny Plain flanking to the right. And Van Pelt looks for his receivers, decides to run the ball. He's out across the midfield stripe, and he's finally run into touch. The officials mark it on the 53-yard line. Steve Otischuk in there to knock Jim Van Pelt into touch. First down for the Blue Bombers. Just a few seconds remaining in the third quarter. Hamilton 28, Winnipeg 27. Van Pelt hands off to Leo Lewis. Lewis across the 50s, down to the 46-yard line, finally pulled over by a mass of Tiger Cats, and there goes the gun to sound the end of the third quarter. This is your coast-to-coast Grey Cup football telecast. And now here with the play-by-play of the fourth quarter of this, possibly one of the greatest of the Grey Cup games, Steve Douglas.
Okay, Bob. Ball is on the Ticats' 46-yard line. 28-27 for Hamilton. Winnipeg Blue Bombers on the attack. Jimmy Van Pelt is the quarterback. And it is 2nd down and 3 yards to go. Lewis comes wide on this side as a flanker, 10 yards from the sidelines. Ball carrier's John Barone, who crashes through right up the middle. Gets down to the 37-yard line for a Bomber first down. And Harry Lampman is the number 1 man on the tackle for Hamilton. Weather conditions out here, after a brief sprinkle of rain about an hour before game time, have been just about ideal. The condition of the turf would best be called spongy, but insofar as the spectators are concerned, they're having a real field day today. 1st and 10 for the Bombers. Van Pelt looking, hitting Lewis, and Lewis is hit almost immediately by Eddie Macon, right down on the 30-yard line. So the pickup on the play is 7 yards. One of the Blue Bombers is shaken up on the play. It is Ed Kotowich, racked up just briefly, getting some attention from the Winnipeg Trainers Department out on the field. Incidentally, with the ball game at 28-27 here in the early minutes of the fourth quarter, there is always the possibility that comes into somebody's mind, what happens if there's a tie at the end of regulation play? Well, should that happen, the teams will not leave the field. They will play 2 10-minute quarters or periods, if you prefer to call them that. And then, if no decision has been reached at the end of these 2 periods, at which time they'll change ends, they'll go off the field for a rest and try it again. Piper has replaced Kotowich in the Blue Bomber lineup. Ball carrier is Barone again, and there is a marker down on the field for an offside call against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Benny Scott led the defensive thrust. Old Golden Dome, number 53, had John Barrow right alongside him, and also a fellow who's doing a fine job backing up the line for Hamilton today in the person of Harry Lampman. The offside penalty against the Ticats gives Winnipeg 1st and 10 on Hamilton's 25-yard line. Van Pelt rolling towards the far sideline, shoots an end run, almost intercepted, but completed! To Kenny Plain, who may or may not be over in that far corner. No signal from the officials. He stopped about a yard from the goal line. It was Milt Campbell who brought down Kenny Plain as the Bombers come roaring back. They're a point behind right now. About 13 and a half minutes to the end of the game. 1st and goal to go, a yard out. Kenny Plain asked for the crowd to hush things down a little bit. Shepard was the man in motion. Touchdown, Winnipeg! Quarterback Jimmy Van Pelt goes over on a sneak. 1 yard for the Winnipeg TD. It puts the Bombers in front now by 33-28. And Mr. Van Pelt, who has been doing a pretty fair country job of running this Bomber offense this afternoon, will be the man who tries to add another point. And Kenny Plain will hold it for him. He'll place it down about the 17-yard line. And it's good. Yards in 8 plays. The Bombers traveled on that one. This Grey Cup telecast is coming to you from Empire Stadium in Vancouver. Empire Stadium in Vancouver, the site of the 1958 Grey Cup game. Sent to you from coast to coast along the CBC Television Sports Network. And just before this kickoff comes up, we remind you that the Shrine East-West All-Star game will be covered next Saturday afternoon from Civic Stadium in Hamilton. You football fans anywhere in that immediate vicinity, get out and see the ball game and give those very deserving youngsters the financial support that they really need. Howell and Macon are set to receive. Van Pelt kicks, low dribbler, picked up by, Tommy Grant decides finally to pick it up in the 25-yard line. Ernie Pitts puts a big grab on him right away. Checking back on Van Pelt's performance this afternoon, we total 22 points for him on 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals, and 4 conversions. 22 points for Winnipeg quarterback Jimmy Van Pelt. That was a 2-yard kickoff return by Tommy Grant from the 25 to the 27 on the 40-yard kickoff by that same Mr. Van Pelt. Ticats trailing by 28-34. Maloney at quarterback. Milt Campbell, trying the right side of the line, gets just about nowhere. He is hit first by Roger Savoy, number 62. Let there be no mistake about it. There is an awful lot of hard, rough, rock'em, sock'em football going out on this Empire Stadium field this afternoon. Herb Gray is the boy temporarily incapacitated insofar as the Bombers are concerned. Had the wind knocked out of him, and they are giving him the old pump motion to get him back into action. He's been the usual tower of strength insofar as Winnipeg is concerned this afternoon. Crowd gives him a great hand as he gets up. There he goes off the field under his own scheme. Not quite so much as he had before, but enough. Ron Meadmore goes in to play a defensive end spot for the Bombers. So does Dave Burkholder. He'll take up an inside linebacking position. It is Hamilton ball on their own 27-yard line. Second down, 10 to go. Powell is the single flanker. He is wide toward the far sidelines. Maloney bootlegging, tripped up one of his own men, and very wisely decided to hang onto the ball as Steve Patrick put a covering tackle on him along with Cease Looning. So the Hamilton club is forced to punt the football, and it will be the customary pair, Gordy Rowland and Ron Latourelle, who are back for Winnipeg to receive. Cam Fraser, who usually does all the Ticats booting, is in this time. Bernie Filoni hoisted one for them in the third quarter. Winnipeg receivers are at the 42 and 45-yard line. Fraser standing on his own 10. He gets the ball away very rapidly, and a nice one. Taken by Rowland at the 44. Two tacklers sliding by him, Ralph Toohey and Chet Mixa, and he is down on the 50-yard line by Zeno Karts, and the kick by Fraser was good for 44 yards from the line of scrimmage. Speaking of the tremendous weather here this afternoon, that temperature pre-game of 47 degrees is the highest reading that a Grey Cup game has been played under since way back in 1941. And if you'd like a coincidence, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers won a Grey Cup in that year. John Barone carries, tries the left side, trying to cut back in, and 3 or 4 Ticat tacklers are there for him, led by Tony Casillo and Milt Campbell. That's Casillo, number 99, who calls defensive signals for the Hamilton club. 11 minutes to the end of the ball game. Incidentally, there will be many fine personalities in the business world and the sports world, particularly football, of course, being interviewed shortly after this ball game is over. So stay right with us. Van Pelt bootleg, shoots in the dead round door, and he's hit at the 50-yard line. Pitch gets away from the first, the second man, and tries to do a clothesline job down. It's no touchdown. No touchdown. 2 officials caught him stepping out of bounds on the 31-yard line, but a chorus of boos greets the men in the striped shirts, who, let's say right now, have done a whale of a job today under mighty tough circumstances. They have had their hands full all afternoon. This is one of the roughest, toughest games in Grey Cup history. The ball is on the 31-yard line. That's Hamilton's 31. Blue Bombers, 1st and 10. Charlie Shepard carries, tries over left guard. John Barrow, first man to get to him. P.W. Underwood also on the tackle. Van Pelt, incidentally, has completed 4 out of 6 passes in this second half of the ball game. Herb Gray coming in for the Winnipeg club. And Cornell Piper leaves the game momentarily. Szyminski replaces Scott in the defensive lineup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Bootlegging again by Van Pelt down the middle. Intended receiver, Frank Gilliam, and it was a little bit too much of a lead pass, a little too hot to handle. He was being checked pretty closely by Bob Dawson of the Ticats. So it is 3rd down. Yardage to go about 6. And there just could be a field goal attempt coming up here. The Winnipeg Board of Strategy, led by that splendid young coach, Bud Grant, may be calling for that.
We'll see when they break the huddle. They lead 34-28. Charlie Shepard has moved back to his 40-yard line, and Howell and Macon go into the end zone. Shepard gets away, a great kick, and fans are going to, well, they don't interfere, but they came very, very close to it. A scene like that recalls a Grey Cup game here in 55 when they were unable to try a convert at the end of the ball game because of fan interference. 9 minutes, 38 seconds, says the clock here. 35-28, the scoreboard. And the big 35 belongs to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. If you're wondering about recent Grey Cup games that produced large scores, 56 was the most productive insofar as two teams were concerned when Edmonton beat Montreal 50-27, a total of 77 points for both clubs. First and 10 for the Ticats, their 25-yard line. Wide pitch out is to Campbell. He's nailed. A beautiful shoestring tackle laid in there by Herb Gray, who plays left end defensively for the Bombers, number 53. Campbell was a bit slow coming up off the ground, but he's all right. Kenny Plain is coming in to play a defensive post for the Bombers. Replaces Nick Miller. Plain will go in at the defensive halfback spot. Flankers are right and left for the Ticats. Maloney will shoot. He does, and it's completed on the far side. Ronnie Howell, the receiver for the Ticats, which brings them pretty close to first down spot. John Barone put the stop on him, along with Norm Rawhouse. Thinking back to those tie possibilities in this Grey Cup game, a converted touchdown for the Ticats right now would tie things all up again. An up-and-down ball game insofar as the scoreboard is concerned. It's had the spectators up and down in their seats, that's for sure. First and 10, Hamilton. Just over the 35-yard line. Milt Campbell, and he is wrestled down to the ground by a host of bomb attackers led by Captain Buddy Tinsley, number 64. The big guy who plays right tackle both ways. Steve Patrick is number 63 there. Number 73 is Cease Looning for the Bombers. 44th, Garland Warren. 79, Keith Pierce. Second down and 10 for the Ticats, just over their 35. Maloney still got it. He's going to run, and he is almost trapped. Got a nice block that sprung him loose for 2 or 3 yards, and he managed to get up across the 40-yard line before he was hit down by Dave Burkholder. So the Ticats will have third down and just about 5 yards to go. Deep men as usual for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Lon Latterell and Gordy Rowland. Fraser is back inside his 30-yard line. The receivers are down around the 25 and 35. Latterell lets it bounce, picks it up finally on the 26-yard line, and is hit down almost immediately on the far side of the field. First man to get to him was Jimmy Hughes, and little Billy Graham was in there, Johnny on the spot as well. The kick was good for 44 yards from the line of scrimmage, and this is your coast-to-coast Grey Cup football telecast. Set to go with the Bombers in possession, first and 10 on the 27-yard line. Defensive ends are Gilliam on the left side and Fitz on the right side. Van Pelt, the quarterback, hands off to Charlie Shepard, and the hole opens up beautifully for Shepard. He is up for a first down almost to the 40-yard line, and Tony Casillo gets him there. It is good for a first down. Perhaps an inch inside the Bombers' 40-yard line. 6 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. That is not official, remember, but it's very, very close to it. And Winnipeg leads Hamilton 35-28.
Kenny Plain is a very wide flanker on this side. Shepard carries. Cuts back and is met by 2 or 3 Ticat tacklers who came up very rapidly to get him. Number 1 man, Vinny Scott in there, and P.W. Underwood. And number 64 is Dave Szyminski. 62 there is Mosca. Number 90, Eddie Macon. Crisillo calls the defensive signals for Hamilton. Shepard once again. That's a cross over right guard. Mosca and Szyminski in to make the stop, and the Bombers have 3rd down and just about 2 yards to go. Members of the kicking team go in for the Winnipeg club. Howell and Macon are moving back for Hamilton. There they are, Howell to the left. Hamilton's deep men between the 15 and 20-yard lines. Winnipeg has about 1.5 yards actually to go for 3rd down. Shepard goes back. He's standing on his own 35-yard line. Gets away a wobbler that Macon comes up, takes in the dead run, fumbles, and falls on. And is held down over there by Ron Latourell just to make sure. 31 yards, that kick by Charlie Shepard of the Bombers. And the Hamilton club comes up, 1st and 10, on the Ticat 26-yard line. Incidentally, Bob Moyer asked me to remind all Winnipeg fans that there's a big wingding set for Winnipeg Arena on the club's return. And he says that all you Winnipeggers know exactly when it is, where it is. And that's win, lose, or draw, Bob, of course, naturally. 5 minutes officially to go now. Hamilton Ticats have won at the HAAA grounds Monday morning, somewhere around 9 o'clock. That's unofficial, but you can find out back there in the ambitious city. Pass is completed by Bernie Filoni. Ronnie Howell on the receiving end again. And the man to bring him down is Norm Rawhouse. 1st down for Hamilton. In previous Grey Cup competition, teams from these 2 cities competing today, Hamilton and Winnipeg, have met 4 times. Hamilton has won 3. They won in 53 and 57, the most recent. Filoni will try the air again. Looks down. He hit Macon, and Macon made a sensational grab of it with 2 Winnipeggers hanging on to him. Kenny Plain finally gets him, along with Gordy Rowland. And the Ticats have 1st down on Winnipeg's 42.5-yard line. Underwood comes in the game, and DeNoble goes out. That is in the Hamilton lineup. Partial spread in operation here with Filoni looking, throwing down, and a great pitch by Paul Decker. He's wrestled down to the ground inside the 25-yard line. Kenny Plain got to him first for the Bombers. So through the air, 2 quick strikes. Filoni to Macon and then to Decker, and good catches on both. The Ticats have moved down and are really threatening. Walt Bilicki comes in defensively for the Bombers. And number 52, Dave Burkholder, comes out. 3 minutes, 55 seconds. Howell flanks to the right, Macon on the left, and Decker is split about 5 yards from left end. Filoni will try it again. Or will he? He's running. And out of bounds he goes in the vicinity of the 18-yard line. Herb Gray got to him first, along with Nick Miller, and pushed him out. And there's a Bomber injured on that last play. Incidentally, speaking about the rough, tough football that is being played here at Empire Stadium today in this great Grey Cup game, serves to remind of something in the opposite direction, that retarded children can be helped by supporting your local association. So please do so if you possibly can. Roger Savoy is the injured Blue Bomber. Frank Rigney going out on the field. This Grey Cup telecast is coming to you from Empire Stadium in Vancouver. Bernie Filoni, who has been pitching strikes lately to his receivers, has completed 8 out of 9 in this second half. And at long last, the perennial dog has made his appearance here inside the stadium. Filoni shoots down the middle. It's intercepted. Norm Rawhouse, who was a first-half hero when he blocked the Fraser punt and fell on it for a touchdown, makes the interception from his safety position for the Bombers. Well, how do you like that, eh? The clock shows 3 minutes, 21 seconds left to go. Well, very definitely that makes 22-year-old Canadian, a Winnipeg product, Norm Rawhouse, one of the big Bomber heroes today. Let's see how the Bombers play it now. And off is to Leo Lewis. That's back inside left to right end. And is finally hit down in the vicinity of the 18-yard line. Tony Costello is one of the men on the stop, along with Milt Campbell. Pick-up on the play is 6 yards, 2nd down and 4 to go. There's the old pooch, and that's Vinnie Wirtz, the one in front. The famed Hamilton Ticat, non-professional cheerleader. From the field, the officials give the 3-minute signal. Lewis carries again. Cuts back inside. He's up very close to a first down. He is hit down by Eddie Macon defensively for the Ticats. They're going to call for a measurement, and there's a good possibility the dog will help them out on this. Well, he's a friendly little perp. He's right in there. Anybody wants to make book on who tackles the dog, it's all in his favor. First down for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Gordy Rowland has replaced Leo Lewis in Winnipeg's offensive backfield. Kenny Plain comes out flanking on this side. Van Pelt hands off to Charlie Shepard. Look at him burst. He is running. And he is dragged down from behind by Milt Campbell, Charlie Shepard, who really burst into the clear. And Campbell, a great all-round athlete, former world decathlon champion, had enough speed to grab hold. We have 2 minutes and 16 seconds to go. 35-28 for Winnipeg. That was a 48-yard gallop by Shepard. And Leo Lewis has gone back in for the Bombers, and Rowland has come out. Ball is on the Ticats' 40-yard line. It's 15 yards in from the near sidelines. And whatever you do, don't go away from that TV set. Barone carries, fumble! Recovered by the Ticats. Looks like a fellow by the name of Vinnie Scott. Old Golden Dome of the Ticats. So called for rather obvious reasons. Not too much hair on the top of his head. He's been around Hamilton parts in football for something like 9 years. 230 pounds, give or take a few. 5'8". Minute 54 on the clock. 35-28 for the Bombers. This is a heart stopper, that's for sure. Filoni still got it. Shooting on the side, it's complete. And the receiver is ridden down to the ground on the 47-yard line by Nick Miller. Harry Lampman. Latched onto that one from Filoni. Going into the game for Winnipeg defensively is Bob Hobart. Coming out, Frank Rigney. A minute 24 left to go. Howell flanks to the right. Macon on this side. Filoni's going to run it. At the 50. Across midfield. Dumped down by Nick Miller. That will give the Ticats a first down. The man with the minute flag is prepared to hold it high in just a few seconds. 35-28. Winnipeg over Hamilton. A few seconds, over a minute to go. Up goes the minute flag. And the stadium starts to pick up, and you'll hear one tremendous roar when this game is over. Filoni shoots down the middle, complete to Jerry McDougall. And he goes down on the 45-yard line, and Nick Miller once again, for the third time in the last 4 defensive efforts, makes the tackle. 44 seconds, says the clock. Second down and about a foot to go. The ball is on Winnipeg's 45-yard line. You couldn't ask for a more thrilling finish. Filoni throws very long, and it may be intercepted. It is intercepted by Kenny Plain of the Bombers, who is Norrie Rawhouse. Comes up with it eventually, and there's a marker down on the field. And the clock shows 15 seconds to the end of the game. Filoni's pass, which was just about a desperation effort, he had 2 big Blue Bombers breathing down his neck, bounced around between 2 or 3 of the Bombers and the lone intended receiver deep downfield, Ronnie Howell. And a piling on penalty has been called by the officials against the Ticats. It is Bombers' ball, 1st and 10 on the Winnipeg 34-yard line. And the crowd is beginning to move out of the stands toward the sidelines, and wait till you see this field the moment the final gun goes off. Clock shows no time left, but the minute flag is still up. It's all over. Final score, Winnipeg 35, Hamilton 28. Stay with us by all means. This is your coast-to-coast Grey Cup football telecast.
This is Ted Reynolds back again at Empire Stadium while Steve Douglas is battling his way, and I'm sure that's what he's going to have to do down below, where we'll, in a very few moments, have interviews with the outstanding players from this game. And what more Winnipeg itself could do to celebrate its own thrilling Grey Cup victory, I don't know. Thousands and thousands are milling around out on the turf. They're trying to tear down the goalposts, which are fairly well anchored in. It was, as has been reiterated here, look at those goalposts. Many times this afternoon, as thrilling a Grey Cup football game as has ever been played any place, and there have been an awful lot of them. The final score, 35-28 for the battling Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who wore down what was supposed to be the finest football machine in Canada today. Now, first of all, with a quick summary of the scoring plays in the game, Bob Moore.
Thanks, Ted. Well, here we have the complete scoring for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who scored 28 points in this football game. Jerry McDougall scored 1 touchdown. Ralph Goldston, who was thrown out of the game in the first half, scored 1 touchdown. Ronnie Howell scored 2 touchdowns for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And Steve Bonnischek kicked 4 converts. That adds up to 28 points for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. For the winning Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who scored 35 points in this football game, the big man was their quarterback, Jim Van Pelt. He scored 2 touchdowns, he kicked 4 converts, and 2 very important first-half field goals for a total of 22 points. Charlie Shepard, Winnipeg's big fullback, scored a touchdown and a single, and Norm Rawhouse scored a touchdown. That adds up to 35 points. The final score in this football game, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 35, the Hamilton Tiger Cats 28.
Well, it's going to be quite a while before everybody gets out of this place, believe you me. They were bursting out onto this field even before that final play was executed. And now, as you can see, they're all over the place. The crowd of just over 34,000 paid attendance that was here at Empire Stadium in Vancouver this afternoon. And you can go right down the lineup of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this afternoon and pick out star after star after star. You have to start with Jimmy Van Pelt, whose performance was superb. You have to go on to Kenny Plain, and you have to go on to Big Charlie Shepard and the Canadian kid, Norm Rawhouse, who came up with one touchdown on a piece of straight anticipation and nervy play and came up with a critical interception in the dying moments of the game. You have to go to the big old veteran, Bud Tinsley, who played his heart out, all 240 pounds of him throughout this entire game, and right down the list. Over on the Hamilton side, Bernie Filoni, who cut loose with some of the longest passes ever seen in Empire Stadium. He just reared back and heaved them. A couple of times he found Canada's outstanding Canadian, young Ronnie Howell, in the end zone. And Filoni certainly was the big man for Hamilton, but the Tiger Cats just couldn't contain this Winnipeg club, despite the fact they went up 14-0 in the first quarter. Bob now with some more and more detailed statistics on a real breathtaker.
Right, thank you. And here we go with the statistics between the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, with Winnipeg picking up 26 first downs as compared to 22 first downs for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. In the passing department, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers attempted 19 passes. They completed 11 for a total of 210 yards. The Hamilton Tiger Cats attempted 25 passes. They completed 16, and there were 2 passes intercepted. The Tiger Cats picked up 240 yards passing. In the rushing department, and this is one of the big stories in the football game, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers picked up 293 yards rushing, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats could pick up only 171 yards.
Very complete rundown, thank you, Bob, from Doug Maxwell, who's been a very busy man. He's got his slide rule, though, I noticed again.
Well, here is a more detailed of the scoring summary, it said. In the first quarter of the scoring, Jerry McDougall scored the first touchdown as the Hamilton Tiger Cats rolled 82 yards in 11 plays. Winnipeg never had the ball. They lost it on a penalty after stopping the Tiger Cats on 3 downs. Steve Onischek converted that one to make the score 7-0. Then at 6:49 of the first quarter, Ralph Goldston picked up a fumble, ran 75 yards for a touchdown, which was converted by Steve Onischek and put the Tiger Cats in front 14-0. The Blue Bombers came back when Kenny Plain, who was trapped on a play, tossed a pass to Jim Van Pelt, who ran over for the touchdown, and the convert was made by Van Pelt himself, and the score was 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. In the second quarter, Jimmy Van Pelt kicked a field goal from the 15-yard line at the 6-minute and 56-second mark, and then at 10-12, he kicked another field goal from the 27-yard line, and that made the score Hamilton 14, Winnipeg 13. Then on the final play of the first half, Norm Rawhouse went in to block that kick and also pick up the fumble in the end zone, or the loose ball in the end zone, and Jim Van Pelt converted the ball and made it 20 for Winnipeg, 14 for Hamilton at the half. In the third quarter, at the 4-minute and 41-second mark for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Ronnie Howell scored a touchdown pass from Bernie Filoni as the Tiger Cats went 60 yards in 5 plays. Steve Onischek converted to make it 21-20. Then Charlie Shepard and Ronnie Howell got touchdowns for 28-27 at three-quarter time.
Well, that just about takes us that far. Now we're going downstairs immediately, Bob, where Steve Douglas is being joined by Tom Foley of Ottawa to meet some of the stars of this thrilling game.
Greetings to you from our interview room below Empire Stadium in Vancouver, and to football fans from coast to coast, wherever you may be. I think you can certainly say that you saw a whale of a football game. 2 gentlemen here who didn't participate but sat in the stands and got a great kick out of it are very well known to football fans again across this land of ours. We'd like to present them to some people who may not know them. Mr. Ed Fennell, President of the Canadian Rugby Union, and the Commissioner, Mr. Sidney Halden. Gentlemen, Ed, you're right beside me. How about a few words? What do you think?
Well, I think it was a terrific game, one of the best Grey Cup games I've ever seen.
I'm sure.
Both teams played a terrific, hard-fighting game out there.
Is it okay to sneak a word in and say you did the best team in your estimation?
Well, I'm from the East now. I don't know how to answer that.
That was kind of mean. Let's try Mr. Halden. Commissioner, how about it, sir?
I think it was the most thrilling and hard-fought Grey Cup game that I have ever watched.
I think that will be echoed by all the fans who watched it for about 3 hours of action on the field this afternoon. You're happy about the result, I presume.
I'm very pleased. The game was hard fought.
Would you like to present this this big trophy to a big fellow here?
And Greg, Hope Captain, Ed Fennell, and I are very happy to present the Grey Cup to you as co-captains of the winning club.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. And on behalf of all Manitoba, I don't want to say Winnipeg or anything like that, but all of Manitoba, they were behind us. We got all these telegrams and everything. And you wanted it as much as we did. And we really sincerely thank you, Commissioner, for this great honor.
Let's go to the other side of that trophy. How about this fellow here?
Well, I'd like to not only thank Manitoba, I'd like to thank all the rest of the western cities. I know they were all behind us. We got a lot of telegrams from Edmonton, Calgary, Regina, and other little small towns. And believe me, we appreciate it with all our heart. And we're just as proud to have this as y'all are, and I hope we can keep it out here for a couple of years.
All right, fine. Thank you, gentlemen, every one of you. Thank you very, very much. Tommy Foley has got a very happy-looking young man from the coaching profession. Tom?
There's lots of happy people in this stadium, but this is the happiest coach, I'm quite sure. Bud Grant, congratulations. Your club came up with a magnificent game.
It was really a team effort, Tom, and we couldn't be prouder of both teams out there today, and it's the biggest thrill of my life in sports, I know.
Bud, what was going on at your bench when you were trailing 14-0 and things looked pretty black?
Well, we've been behind 14-0 before, Tom, and the boys never quit. They were a little bit shook up, but they decided that they're going to come back and at least get in the football game. And if we got equal breaks, which we did in the ball game, they knew they could come back, and I think they showed tremendous spirit in coming back the way they did.
Did you know that your quarterback, Jim Van Pelt, set an all-time Grey Cup record by scoring 22 points?
I'm real happy for him. He's a wonderful football player, and he's led us this last part of the season to as I said before, the greatest thrill of my life. I know that.
But how would you compare it to last season as far as rough play is concerned, or as far as the Hamilton club is concerned, or comparing your team to the team of a year ago?
Well, I think the big thing there, Tom, is we were healthy this year. Hamilton was an improved ball club. Bernie over here, he's throwing that ball all over the lot. And they played a real tough, rough football game, and we thought we improved enough this year to take it, and they certainly rewarded the confidence we placed in them.
The thing that surprised me, Hamilton, nobody could score against them in the East, about 16 points a game. They only scored about 11 a game against you in the West. How come such a big score?
Well, when we only play one another once in the season, those things happen. We had some plays that they haven't seen too much of. They had a lot that we hadn't seen a great deal of. And that's what happens, and that's what's made this Grey Cup such a wonderful classic.
But I'll let you get back to your football players. I know there's going to be a lot of celebration in the Winnipeg room. Steve Douglas, you've got a pretty good quarterback.
I've got a pretty good quarterback and a pretty good co-captain here from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Bernie Filoni here, Steve Honestchuk here. Well, Bernie, I guess we better have some reactions.
Well, no reactions. We played a fine football club out there today. They had a lot of desire. They hit hard. It was a good, clean football game. And I would like to congratulate Jimmy Van Pelt. I think he called a fine ball game. And for scoring on us, setting that new record in the Grey Cup, that's quite a thing. He has a lot in store for him. He's a fine boy.
Well, I would say, coming from a fellow who played a pretty good share quarterback himself by name Mr. Filoni, that's a very high compliment, and Jimmy certainly deserved it. And Steve, I guess you were kind of on the receiving end of some of those things that Van Pelt was doing this afternoon, eh?
Well, I'll tell you, Steve, they certainly surprised us on a lot of their offense. They played a great game. I think the best team for the day won. And I don't think our defense held as well as we thought they would, and I guess theirs didn't hold as well as they thought it would. So all around, I think it was a good game.
There's an answer to Tom's question. How come it was so high scoring, eh?
That's exactly it.
All right. I know you want to get a shower. Thanks, Steve Honestchuk.
I've got one more thing to say.
You may have it.
Well, last year Winnipeg said, wait till next year. It's my turn. Wait till next year.
All right, Bernie. Thanks very much. All right. Tommy, you've latched onto a man here. Would you like to latch onto the microphone?
Yes, thank you very much. And we have a young fellow that's an Easterner and a Westerner. This is Gordy Rowland, who was born in Montreal, was brought up there, played his early football, now plays for Winnipeg. What are you now, an Easterner or a Westerner or just a Canadian, Gordy?
Well, I think I'm still neutral, son. In between.
You didn't look too neutral to me there. You came up with some terrific
Well,
tackles.
we wanted to win real bad, Tom. We wanted to beat Hamilton real bad, especially Trimble, I think. We've heard a lot about him and so on.
Well, I
We've
tell
read
you,
a lot about him also.
there's not too many people in the East that have much success in beating him, Gordy. You play on the defensive club. How would this Hamilton offense compare to the teams that you saw here in Western Canada?
Well, I would say they're just about the best club we have played this year offensively. They run the ends well and run up in the middle quite well and pass real well.
This was a very exciting game, Gordy. I think more exciting than the one a year ago. What made the difference?
Well, we were healthy this year, Tom, and that helped quite a lot. You see Big Shep running in the field last year. I think we're in a little bit of difference too.
You finished as a runner-up as far as the Canadian of the Year is concerned, but you lost out to a very fine football player in Ronnie Howell. So you've had a great season, Gordy, and hearty congratulations.
Thanks very much,
Good luck
Tom.
to you next year, whether you're an Easterner or a Westerner.
Thank you very much.
Gordy Rowland, formerly of Montreal and now with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Once again, Steve, who have you got?
I've got a fellow who has just been voted the top Canadian footballer in the country and who caught 2 long passes today, and I think the logical question a lot of folks would like to hear Ron Howell answer is, how in the world do you get in so deep and so far behind those last defenders? I know the season's over now. You can give us a little idea.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve, most of it's very phony. We ran a lot of play passes where the play develops like a running play, and then Bernie bootlegs the ball back and stands back there and puts it right in my arms. If I don't catch it, he'd be pretty unhappy about it.
I'm sure he would.
Put it right there.
Well, now, you are at the crossroads in sports, or perhaps you're not. What about this hockey career against a football career?
Well, I'm going to play a little hockey this winter. A fellow has to keep in shape and keep groceries on the table. So after the Shrine game, I'm going to join Buffalo, the American Hockey League, and play a little hockey, I hope.
I hope so, and I hope it's a wonderful season for you, Ron. And come back next year and sneak in behind some of those and give us some more throws, will you?
I'll do my best.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. We've been talking about a fellow who's a pretty good quarterback, and I don't mean you, Tom, but come on in, because I know you're going to talk to him. So how about taking this mic over, will you?
Okay, Steve. Well, this fellow set an all-time record. Jim Van Pelt of Michigan, now of Winnipeg. Jim, did you know about this record, or do you just go out and score 22 points, whether it means anything or not?
I didn't know about it until I heard someone mention it in here just a few minutes ago.
Well, you beat a record set by another pretty good football player by the name of Jackie Parker.
Yes,
Jim, you were remarkably cool out there today. Did it seem like another game, or were you as collected as you appeared?
No, first quarter there, I had the jitters, and after I fumbled, I got talking to myself and told myself to get going, so I guess that's what helped out a little bit.
Jim, how old are you?
I just turned 23.
Did it bother you a little bit knowing you were going in against a championship team, and did the hoopla of this game put a little pressure on you?
Well, we had a little something behind us to spur us on, too, after all the hoopla all week long, and so we were ready to play ball. It didn't bother us too much going in against the championship team. No.
I've heard an awful lot about you, and naturally being in the East, I don't see you as much as I do some of the other players. But was this your best performance, or have you a better one this year?
I don't think I played as well as I have on other occasions, but as far as scoring points, I was more fortunate there today than ever before.
Did you feel that the club panicked at any time? They certainly didn't appear to. I thought that you might have trouble when you fell behind 14 points.
No, we have confidence in our offense, and we have had all year. We led the league out west with it, and we knew we could move the ball, but just a matter of when. And it took a little while, but we finally got going.
What play do you think you called as a quarterback, or maybe you have 2 or 3 that did the job for the Winnipeg club today?
Well, they all did the job. I thought that pass to Kenny Plain late in the game that set up our last touchdown was a big play for us. That was put us down the 1 yard line and was almost intercepted. And we really needed a big lift right there, and that helped. That helped a lot. Kid made a beautiful catch and went on it.
How did you happen to come to Winnipeg and to Canada, Jim? And I know a lot of people don't know as much about you as they obviously should, because here you are, the hero of the Grey Cup game.
Well, I came to Canada because I wanted to play offensive football, I guess, and down home I was only going to get a chance to play defensive football, and that's one of the big reasons I came to Canada, plus a few others.
Jim, are you going to spend the winter in Winnipeg, or do you go back home?
I'm planning on going home this winter. I'm going back to school in February and continue on with my school.
Jim, will you do something when you go back to the University of Michigan? You tell them you not only came up here, you played so much offensive football that you set an all-time scoring record in Canada's Grey Cup.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Thanks an awful lot. Jim Van Pelt, the quarterback of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Steve Douglas, don't fight this guy unless he makes you wait.
He'll never do it. He just never do it. This is Don Luzzy of the Calgary Stampeders, who has not only been chosen as Lineman of the Year out west in this 58th season, but also has just been named as top lineman in Canada. Don, you just said to me something about, gee, what a ball game. Let's hear a little more on that.
Well, see, I thought it was a tremendous game, and as far as the line was concerned, the Winnipeg's offensive line really got off on the ball in that second half, and their defensive line was really charging against Filoni.
Would this be the best ball game you saw the Bombers play all year?
This is about the best game I've seen the Bombers play all year.
Produced some tremendous reaction out here in the West, that's for sure.
Oh, it was really a tremendous game to see.
And you're doing pretty well in Calgary, I understand.
I guess.
You're happy, and very happy boy. And Don, thank you very, very much. Another buddy of yours by the name of Parker, I think, is coming along. You've heard of him somewhere along the line. You probably chased him a few times. Thank you, Don. All right, Tommy, come on back in and bring Jackie Parker with you, will you?
Well, Jackie, now we know a little more why you aren't in the Grey Cup final this year.
Well, that's what we had to contend with all year. We had to contend with guys like Shepard and Lewis and Van Pelt and Plain. You could go on all day, Tom, actually. They've got a real terrific football team, and they showed it today.
What about that offensive club of theirs, Jackie? Quite frankly, in the East, we're astounded that a club can go out and move the ball so well against Hamilton.
Well, I was a bit surprised at their offense. I was a little disappointed at the first of the ball game when Hamilton scored 2 quick touchdowns, and it looked like it was going to be a real bleak day for Winnipeg, but I was never worried about them being able to move the ball. I was concerned with the fact that if they fell too far behind, they would have to leave their regular offense and just try to throw the ball, and then they might have had trouble. But they stuck to their offense, which Jim Fanpelt says they do have confidence in, and that's what won the ball game for them.
Jackie, there was a suggestion, and I presume it must have been a very ill-advised one, that Van Pelt has a tendency to throw for the fences if he gets behind. Now, is that true, or is that just a bad rumor?
Well, no, Tom. Any club that gets behind by too much has got to take to the air to score. I mean, you have to score fast if you get too far behind. So, any quarterback's going to do that. I think Van Pelt is probably one of the better passers we have in the West, and he certainly, for a rookie and actually not having played that much Canadian football, I mean, I don't think you could ever find anybody to do a better job.
The tackling, to me, looked hard and rough out there, and despite that, they scored an awful lot of points. Now, is there a football explanation for that?
Well, no, naturally, it was a real tough-fought ball game. I think it was just the fact that both clubs did have a real good offensive club. Winnipeg's offensive line is their big asset. They've got pretty well the same offense as everybody else has, but their offensive line is somewhat terrific.
Well, Jackie, you're the player of the year, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are the team of the year, so this has been quite a football season for Western Canada.
Well, I think so. I think that the West made up a lot of lost ground that they may have lost last year, Tom.
And what about next season? Do you see anything in the West or East that's going to catch up to them?
Well,
young and healthy to me.
I don't know. I mean, we've got a lot of ball games to play with them next year, and we're going to spend a lot of time on trying to stop them, and I just hope we can at least slow them down a little bit.
Well, Jackie, congratulations on winning the Player of the Year award and also correctly predicting the outcome of the Grey Cup final.
Well, thank you, Tom.
Jackie Parker of the Edmonton Eskimos, and Steve, we seem to be running out of guests. There's 34,000 people here. We haven't interviewed them all yet.
No, we haven't. We want to say thank you to the Vancouver Chamber of Commerce for turning on that wonderful weather today, and to 2 big burly members of Vancouver's best men in blue, the police department, for shepherding Tom and me downstairs. And let's not forget to remind the folks about the big Shrine All-Star game in Hamilton next Saturday. All right, Tom?
Steve, we're looking forward to seeing them all a week from now. And I can tell you those 2 policemen did the best blocking of the day, despite all the great football we saw this afternoon.
All right, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Okay, this is your Grey Cup telecast from Empire Stadium in Vancouver.
It's about all over now. It is at Empire Stadium in downtown Vancouver, you can be sure. And a little later tomorrow in Winnipeg, this tremendous Grey Cup victory by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be celebrated and talked about and enjoyed over and over again. Big party there, Bob?
Yes, there's a big welcome home party for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Winnipeg Arena. I'm not exactly sure of the time, but the plane doesn't leave here until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, I understand. So that's at least late in the afternoon. It's probably early evening.
Well, I'm sure that they're going to have a real ball. They had decided to have it in Winnipeg, win, lose, or draw. We can forget now.
all about losing, and all about drawing because they won it. And I just hope that they get enough sleep so they'll be awake to answer the applause of all their Winnipeg fans back home. It was a tremendous football game. The final score was Winnipeg 35 and the Hamilton Tiger Cats 28. Have you a final word to add, Bob Moyer?
No, I think the ball players just about said everything down there, Ted.
Well, they certainly did. And we've seen the Grey Cup presented to the co-captains of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You have seen and met some of the outstanding stars that took part in this, one of the most thrilling Grey Cup games ever played. The final score again was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 35 and Hamilton 28. And now this is Ted Reynolds in Vancouver.